Hello, everybody, and welcome to Chaotic Neutral Games. I'm Simon, your DM for tonight, as we join Kate, Felicia, Nick, and Corinne with their adventures in Illyria. Don't forget that you can help or indeed hinder the players by using your channel points in the game. Check out the options in the chat bar below. You can also join the chaos by clicking the Discord link in the show notes or vote towards the session twist by becoming a subscriber. So let's rejoin the players as they play episode 71 of The Benefactor. Hello, everyone, and how are you players?
Hello.
Good.
Good.
Didn't just bolt
Very good.
my dinner, honestly.
No, absolutely. Yeah.
Not at all. Not at all.
It was crazy. It was like seeing a boa constrictor chat. It was crazy. Anyway, so...
We're pushing it down. It's going.
Yeah, it's under the camera line. It's under the camera line.
Everything below here doesn't matter anymore. No one cares.
It's fine. No one knows if you're wearing pajama pants.
Yeah, actually, I was, and then I changed them out for some tracksuit bottoms, which are much more, civilized. Yeah. Because our street this is random, and so I'm just diverting now from D&D for a second. But our street just did a kind of gathering obviously not a gathering.
Oh, the
We were
VE
social
Day gathering, yeah.
distances, but we actually like got together and sat around in the sunshine having a drink and a natter. It was really nice. And there was one moment where someone said, "Oh, this is so normal." I went, "Wait, no, it's not. I've lived here 13 years. We've never done this before."
Well, give it 50 minutes and they'll all be out there singing "We'll Meet Again."
It was a bit like we did do a few cheers to a few people's grandfathers. It was
Are they
lovely.
doing that at 9 then, Nick?
Yeah, 9 p.m. is the nationwide sing-along for "We'll
is
Meet
it?
Again."
Oh, right.
right.
Are we doing
I
that?
had
Are we doing
no
that in
idea.
character or out of character?
No.
If there's one thing I can guarantee is that none of you want to hear me sing.
We like
I can
hearing
only sing
Simon
that song if I
sing,
put a
and
voice
I know
on.
that Kate can sing, so those two can sing, and the rest of us can.
Well,
La,
the
la,
original
la.
person who sang it was the original male that sang it, because there was a male artist and a female artist that used to sing it. And the male artist that I think was just before the female artist had the worst voice. It was really nasal. It was like, "We'll meet again."
That's the time period, to be honest.
Yeah, it really was. That was a good voice back
Oh,
then. I was
it's
like,
just-
You're
shit.
thinking of Vera Lynn. She did the cover. She covered
Yeah.
the one that made it famous.
Well, Vera
I'm
Lynn
sure
had
you're-
a bit of a nasal thing, but yeah, it's
No, but she made it famous.
yeah.
She's the female artist.
Yeah.
Oh, she made it famous. Yeah. I mean, she had a bit of range at least. Anyway,
Sorry, distraction's over.
let's get started.
I'm trying to distract from the fact that we're about to play D&D.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
What
I'm
happened?
sure your singing voice is lovely, Justin. I'm sure it's not as bad.
Oh, trust me, it is pretty bad.
Okay.
Excellent.
You sit amongst opulence, across from a Prince of Vardencourt, dukes being
Shit.
only a hair's breadth from Prince. Duke. The name means war leader, literally. However, sat currently pensively staring into space, and then occasionally coming to and recommending to you certain delicacies that have been placed before you on the table. The conversation with Duke Edmund Ostermark has been so far very civilized. And not that I want to make decisions for you, but so far he seemed quite reasonable.
Mm.
He allows you to indulge in the first barrage of delicacies to hit the table, sits back and waits for you to bring up the next subject matter, only kind of interjecting the small talk to break the silences. Players, what do you want to do?
Right, so we need to talk to him about if we could have a look.
Oh, by
Well-
the way, we were wondering if. Give me a moment. I'm trying to remember the name of the Duke's son.
Tristane.
Tristane. If Tristane was around for talking, we've been meaning to catch up with him now that we're back, and
Oh, of course. You're the ones who found him after the incident. No. Well, before the trappings of being a duke fall on Tristane's shoulders, he is indulging in a little of what I did when I was young. He is going out abroad, living amongst the people. I think it makes you grounded somewhat. And after all, I found my beautiful bride Eleanor whilst pretending to be a cavalry captain that was just stopping by a village one day. And I don't know, Triss has been irritable recently. So irritable. I mean, after the problems with his abscondence that you dealt with, he Renata sent him straight to me. What am I to do with the boy? He's shrewd, good politician, better than I am, actually. He's not using my brash tactics of consequence to hold people in line. He likes to bind them up in contract. The threat that I have is that anybody who goes to war that is not sanctioned by Celine. And you notice he names the Empress of Vardencourt by first name. I simply send in the troops, and I make sure that their indiscretions are as costly as possible on the battlefield. Whereas Tristane, he's always been one for deals, pacts, and well, he's the way he's dealt with some of the quarreling nobles so far in my name is that he's basically said that if they go to war with each other, he'll call in their debts. Where I hold them to account at the point of a sword, I think he's on his way to holding them to account on the point of a pen. But he's been very, very, as I say, irritable recently. Like he's chewing on something. He just can't get away with his mind. I hope he's somewhere fun. I hope he's working it out somewhere.
You're not
Oh,
worried?
I'm sure he is. Traveling is such a indulgence before settling down.
Well, two of you here will certainly attest to that. But
You're
yes,
not worried about him?
Well, there's two choices in one's life. Either one wraps themselves up with opulence, becomes soft, pampered, unaware, unprepared. Or one goes out in the world and rolls the dice. There are risks to one's very own life, but it builds character. You come back changed. You come back stronger. Well, or more resilient. One or the other. You've learned some lessons. I did. After traveling with many of my father's companies, I realized that men of war will always be ready for war. And the only thing they respect, the only thing they fear, is impending failure. A fight, they love a fight. I don't offer fights, I offer humiliation and failure. I'm hoping that he'll learn lessons of how to deal with things himself. As I say, he's a bright boy, brighter than me. I've been shrewd my entire life, but he's always been a thinker. A little bit of an overthinker, really. I mean, I've tried to tell him, calm down sometimes. Just meet it head on,
Well, when you've said he's been chewing on something or sort of mulling something over, did you get any idea of what that was?
Well, to my chagrin, I really rather think that he's worried about his old man. Silly, I know.
I'm sure he is under the pretense of not being. That is usually the way of children.
I think he's taken all of this. Okay, something bad happened. No dressing that up. Something that could have been a bloody catastrophe. But well, when I grew up, by the time I was 5, I had already been acclimatized to 2 different types of poison. Before I was at a point where some people would come of age, even as a child, I was playing games of detecting lies and trying to get people to fool people, to manipulate people and things like that. I was told at a very young age, when pretty much as soon as I was able to understand the words, I was told that the highest chances of me being killed was going to be assassination.
Oh yes, of course.
I was poison,
and
or
it's
the dagger
always
in
the
back.
ones closest to you.
Yes. And then I found out there were even more ways where over in the Imperial Palace under Celine that you can fall out of favor and be killed by a pen. So you'll pardon me, even with the catastrophe that could have gone in the city, I've been looking death in the face since I was knee-high. So it happened. It shouldn't have happened. I lay myself before you a fool. But
you think it took it personally?
I think that this is chewing him up inside. I think is rather than accepting that no matter what you do, sometimes that there's always death on the dice.
Hmm.
I think he's panicking about it. I think it's consuming him. I think I have the comfort that I do everything I do for my people, for the Empire, for the Empress, for my family, for all those under my care. If I die in tomorrow as part of that, I will die not exactly happy, who would be, but I will die content.
No one is
This is
happy
our
when they
lot.
die.
Exactly, but content that at least I lived my
Wow.
life the way that I could.
I disagree to that. There's plenty
Well,
of
I
happy
suppose
people.
there are some ways you could die happy. I've heard of people kicking it while doing the do, but that's another thing entirely, Farewell.
That's unfair. You know that I didn't mean that. Death is natural. Death is
I'm teasing
perfectly
you,
acceptable.
my friend.
I figured as much, but still.
Well, we are aware that you're talking about the gentle life.
Thank
So
you. Stain, just going back to something you said earlier. Did he seem to be spending a lot of time poring over in the library, your libraries, and
Yes, actually, he was. I mean, he's always been a bookish sort, but no, he was. Yes, he was rather obsessed actually. And
I assume
I found
you
a couple of books. Oh, sorry. Carry on.
Sorry. I was going to say, do you have a keeper? But you seem to have found some books yourself.
Well, yes, I was worried to start with. He started reading on the fall of great houses and things. I was just like, why would you read about that? I don't even know I have those books. But I guess there are lessons to be learned. In fact, I think it was part of his education when he was younger. Yeah, one doesn't like to dwell on such things. And then after that, it was fine. Last thing I saw him reading was on the legendary items of Valeria. You know, the great sword Isa. And
Oh, you have one
Star
of those
Frost Fang.
books.
And-
I was
well, of course we
meaning
did,
to
of
get
course
the
we
one next time I was back home.
Jerome's
Would you mind
Armory.
if I
of course.
borrowed one?
But of course, I don't see any reason why not.
It is one of
yeah,
my
we have
pet
talked about it.
projects, reading up on other magical items now that I'm able to enchant my own.
Well, both those who are made as part of somebody's life's work, the Grandmasters and all that, and then of course you've got the Soulbound. So Frostfang, obviously, the dragon, and then you've got the Anima as well. So you've got Isa, Sashu, Strike. You've got so
They're
there's,
such fascinating specimens of magic.
Was he looking
truly
at
amazing?
things like apocalyptic event, any chance?
I suppose
start
that
with-
would be something interesting, especially with what happened and if it's eating at him.
Yes, he borrowed a bunch of books from the Lenori, and you know they didn't have what he wanted. He got very stressed about it, and gave them back, and gave them some coarse words as well. Yes, and no, in the end he got off that dark subject. He wasn't reading about the apocalypse anymore. He was talking. He was reading books about travels. That's why I'm quite confident that he's fine. You know, he's clearly decided that he needs to be somewhere. He needs to be somewhere, and so he's gone. And well, if he comes back with a scar, it'll be interesting. He comes back with a bride, I'll pretend to be angry.
Oh,
I'd be a
yes.
hypocrite, of course.
Indeed.
Duke? Did we call you Duke? Your Grace? Oh gosh, I don't know. Your Grace.
Edmund is
Ed-
fine.
Edmund. That feels weird, but okay. You say he was looking at books or looking for information about the fall of great houses and things. How is I mean, is he like you in many ways? Like, how is he with the politics? I don't see him. I mean, I don't know much about politics. Glory's more a master at that, but you know, does he want to be a duke, in your opinion?
Do any of us? He was ready. I mean, he was ready. He and I have talked for many years about the succession. In fact, we have by rote 4 times a year we update, read through the will. It's a delightful father and son moment, of course. But yes, we get together and we talk about going forward, as in the family, the country, all of that. And yeah, so he had the same hesitance that I had, but he's got a measure now of what kind of duke he's going to be. As I say, he won't be the same as me. You know, the name Ostermark will start to dissolve in terms of being a warlike house, and he will use his own particular style to take the next generation forward. That's all we can hope for. He has lots of very powerful friends, incredibly powerful friends. My word. Already, various ambassadors and traders. He's followed my lead by taking the nation of the 7 sails under his belt as well, and others besides. I mean, those Kitoa that he was kicking about with. I don't know if they're still about, but yeah, he's clearly good at looking outside the box. I think that
Simon, when he starts talking about the Katoa, is there any inflection on how he sounds about, mainly around the fact that when he says things like, I don't know if they're around about, do I get the sense of he knows the answer or not?
Roll.
19.
Hard to read. He's a duke.
Yep.
But yeah, you seem to believe him.
Okay. Duke, if I'll be honest with you,
I do hope so.
We checked in on them as we figured that, you know, we wanted to talk to Tristane, and to be honest, we figured he'd be more likely with them than here, because of how, when we found him, the relationship they seem to have. And it may trouble you to learn that they were murdered and tortured.
When you say murdered, he looks kind of concerned. When you say tortured, his eyes go like dinner plates. I'm rolling off your 19 insight here. Tortured? You say you went to them? You mean the ones under the city, the ones that we've given safe haven?
Yes.
Yes.
Someone was tortured in my city.
Yes.
11 of them, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad that you've brought this to my attention. I trust that you've told Renata and well,
we have not yet been able to go back to Renata. We talked to her before we went there, but we were gonna check in after the dinner today.
Yes, we've not had time yet to report.
I think the most telling thing is that they were after information regarding your son.
And at that point, he goes steely. He's twitching up until that point, and suddenly with a breath, he's calm and completely
It is part of why we were hoping you could tell us anything more about Tristane, as this is quite an issue if he's being targeted.
Or if you're being targeted by him, via him.
No one new is currently targeting me. He starts to play with a piece of jewelry and says, Captain Boggs, I'm going to give you a location. I need you to go there with your investigators. I need you to find a trace on some torturers within my city.
There's slight problem there. They're not going to find anything really. I didn't really want to have a horde of undead roaming around the city, as you know, we had demons. I'm not sure if we got all of them. A load of dead corpses and the malevolence that raises. So I buried them all.
You did your duty, Father Fairmountains. But don't you worry. My investigators don't need bodies.
The information, because Father Farewell here is
and that is the look you get from Farewell. It's like
That is a bad word.
Yes. Father Farewell here is he's connected quite with the afterlife, and he was able to speak to one of the main priests. If you want to give the description that they gave, that might be.
No, I didn't give this much information away. I was giving just enough to get him interested. I didn't want to give him everything.
You've got him interested.
Oversharing.
I wanted him just interested enough
legendary
to prompt him
at this
into
point.
action.
Well, I thought you wanted to help with the investigation. I thought you wanted to clear it up.
I do, but I want to hold enough in reserve because his motive isn't clear.
It's so perfectly eclipsed, though. That is so perfectly eclipsed. Here is everything. Ah, shit.
Here is a plate full of plot. He says, I am glad that so capable investigators and friends pursued my son, found this event that could well lead to dark tidings for my family.
Yeah, there is one thing that keeps coming up that may help.
Name it.
The Night of the Dark Star.
The Night of the Dark Star. And you can see that he's been heavily educated. Because, yes, the poem that it comes. Yes. And from the sea shall rise the death that all men deserve. That thing.
Yes.
Yes. The Leviathan, the Kraken, something like that.
Yeah, Kraken.
Something like that.
So they yes, that the Katoa are always going on about Leviathan's End. What are you on about? Where's the Red Horse?
Your son is, I fear, somehow in the middle. How?
Middle of what, man? Speak up. The middle of what?
I don't know. All I can say
Something.
is that he knew the Katoa. They know of the Night of the Dark Star. He is traveling.
He's
They
traveling.
are after him.
Where is he traveling?
Don't know.
By what? Where did he leave?
Again, if I knew, with all respect, I wouldn't be here. None of us would be here. We would
that case,
be
let
on
me be
his
frank.
trail.
What do you need?
Access to his room.
Done.
Any list of anything that he got hold of, his movements that you knew of before he left, who he may have spoken with, what he may have taken, and
I would like a look in the books he's been reading recently, as it may give us clues toward where he is.
Done.
He seems to, he seems to have been quite connected to specifically the Kraken itself. He needs to know. He's a fucking parent.
He's got involved in some bloody cult.
Don't know.
we don't know for sure. I am
Told him to stay away from those freaks. Not the Katoa. The religion has never been, other than Cord, and the Dawn Gods. I've
we
said
have
stay away
no-
from these fringe. Oh,
We have no definitive answer. We are not sure. Or my gut tells me that he may be in over his head, but I don't know him well enough to be sure. So I didn't want to say
no, that's my
anything
son.
more
Over his head is how he works.
before I have more information to work on.
I respect that. But I also respect that you have seen it suitable to bring it to me so that I can throw whatever resources Ostergald has at your disposal.
In
By
any
the time
case,
you leave this place, every faction in the city will know. And he says it pointedly. Every faction in this city will know what you're doing and will give their full cooperation.
Right? Don't say no, it's a very good thing. Do you know how hard
Very
red tape
helpful,
is
sir.
to get around?
As you can imagine, my appetite has somewhat disappeared.
Yes,
I assure you, so has ours.
I'm
Shall we get to
Very
business?
sorry.
Cora's eating shit while watching the crazy shit. It's like
I just got this.
like
I just got this mental
popcorn,
image
like-
of this halfling just going. I've never seen such good food before, and she's just going.
I know she's trying to be subtle about it, but she's definitely like, okay, ooh, carry on. Brilliant.
And I thought this smorgasbord that was breakfast at Glory's place was the best. This is getting better. Cora's fascination with fancy food.
No, our next emote should be Cora just stuffing her face.
Cora with a giant cookie.
Yeah.
I like it.
Cora cookie, I like it.
Cora cookie.
Rings off the
Nom nom nom.
yeah. Off the thing. So he stands up and says, obviously I have my own agents to brief right now. They were looking for him where a young man should be. And if he's gone through some of the more secret routes, it looks like I'm going to have to get hold of Cassandra. And he
Have
says,
them message me if they find anything.
as you wish, Father. Good luck. Keep in contact through Renata. And he strides out of the room.
I was going to say, can you show me his room? Where is his
I'm
room?
sure he will send a servant to show you.
There are servants stood here, and
Yeah.
he said in front of them, done.
Okay, yeah. Can someone please show me to Sir Tristane's room?
Yep. And a young woman walks forward. She's wearing kind of like jodhpur type trousers, kind of calf length boots, and a simple shirt with a ruffle and a black ribbon on it. And she is a half-orc.
How
and-
about we split up? You and Cora take his room, and Farewell can help me look over the documents and books. I think our
think it's
combined
the
knowledge should lead us to something.
I assume
We can
the
take you
books
to
and
one on the way to
documents
the other.
would be in his room, but I'm not sure. Or are they?
Yeah, I
I
assumed
was-
it would be either room or library.
I wanted to do one then the other, but I mean, if you want to get a head start, go for it. I wanted to have a.
Well, I could
run through
definitely
certain
use the help of someone in looking
That
through
was
the
why I
room
said
with
2
me.
and 2.
Yeah.
I'm up for helping. My investigation is decent despite her being relatively unintelligent.
But my investigation is plus
Shut up. Mine's plus,
Brazilian.
mine's plus
It's
4.
numbers. You
12.
guys know about numbers.
Plus 12!
Uh,
Well, I'll assist you. Give me the help action.
The orc turns to you and says, "My name's Caitlin. If you'll come with me, we can take you to one on the way to the other." Please.
Thank you, Caitlin.
And so she walks marching through the house, and you notice that the way that she holds herself is almost like she's got a military bearing, and you do notice that everybody here, all the servants, everyone you pass, incredibly physically fit, and
Training regimen.
Expected.
and she stops at the library. She says, "The ducal library," and whoever
Yeah,
is
Glory
going
will be
Their
right
heels
in
off.
there in the books.
I will be with you in a couple of minutes. There's
Mhm.
a couple of things I want to check first, and then I'll be right across.
Sure. And she walks you through a few more corridors, and in front of a pair of double doors, over which it says in Elven, the Suite of the Air, underneath. Sorry, over the arch.
Don't speak pointy yet.
And she stands in front of it, does a gesture with her hand, which is just her putting her fist into her hand and then bringing up two fingers. The two doors open up magically. You notice there's a bit of a shimmer. It was magically locked. And she goes, "There you go."
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I will do it in the right accent.
So who is where right now?
I'm in the bedroom with Cora and Eclipse.
Okay. So you can see that the bedroom is immaculate. You can see that it's a suite, and there's a large four-poster double bed. There's his and hers opposite sides of the room.
Why would you need?
Cupboards and desks. On the other side, there's a desk and what is quite clearly a lady's vanity. And there's at the front by the door, there's a seating area with a round table for 4 people, kind of little mini bar and all that lot. And then you can see that there's 3 doors at the back. And you know that one of the doors would go to a garderobe. And then there would be kind of like a storeroom, walking cupboard kind of thing. So like a storage room behind, or like a hobby room. And the third door, you don't know, maybe an office.
Before we get started, there's one thing I wanted to do, and I cast using a first level spell slot, Detect Magic.
Sure. You notice that the walls, the doors, the bed, a pen in the desk, and anything else. Oh, a small bottle on the minibar is glowing brightly with magic.
I pilfer the pen.
Sure.
Unashamedly just go, yoink.
Sure.
Infinite ink pen.
Yep. Pick up the pen, put it in your pocket. Sure. The servants have left you at it.
Yeah. Everything is lead. Yes, that's right. Everything is
lead.
Yeah, everything is lead.
Yeah.
It's stupid English language having words that are exactly spelled exactly the same.
I don't get it. It's so stupid.
Well, neither do we, and it's our language.
Yeah.
No, to be fair, we have that too.
Well, they're not pronounced differently though. They're pronounced the same.
Gift.
Yes, but that's pronounced the same, all the same. Lead and lead are pronounced differently.
That is true.
Yeah. Anyway, completely irrelevant.
But still stupid. But yeah.
I will assist Eclipse or Cora, whoever is doing it, with their investigations, looking for... I assume you're looking for something hidden, Eclipse.
Clues.
Cora.
Yes, I'm looking for clues. Anything that may relate to his disappearance.
Okay.
I can't look for forensic evidence because that doesn't exist.
CSI Ostergald.
Only if we lead in every episode with a terrible pun. And,
Yes.
and someone puts a pair of sunglasses on.
Yeah, and you've got the special effects wizard firing a fireball behind you. It's a thing. It has to happen. This isn't a bit where you just do an investigation roll. I want to know what you're doing. What are you looking for?
So I'll start to look for. Well, it's very clean, but I will look for any sort of notes, any sort of anything that seems a little bit out of place, like maybe the books hidden under his bed, not the pawn, the other stuff.
His nobility, you know it's there.
Yeah, it's there. It's the
but it's classy stuff.
When you're nobility, you say what is classy.
Yeah. It's like on his private library and it's just like normal books, but
he has got bookshelves. He's got books that belong to him because they were gifts directly to him.
Yeah.
And most of those tend to be histories, stories, things like that. Almanacs, books of maps.
Yeah.
Things that people give him, normally ambassadors give him as a thing that a budding duke would want to read.
Yeah. Any sort of maps, any sort of traces, anything that looks disturbed. I don't know if they...
It sounds to me like you want to look through his bookcase and his desk.
At the moment, yes. I'll start with those. And then...
So first of all, you notice that his desk is missing a pen.
Yes. Because Farrell did that one. I'm like, where's the pen? And Farrell's like...
you have told me what you're looking for. Give me an investigation roll.
Guidance.
Are you helping? Looking for things.
Yeah, I'll assist unless Kate, you want to do the assist bit?
I don't mind either way. I mean, I'm happy to help, but if there's three of us here, that's fine.
Something else you wanted to look out, and I can help Eclipse.
Sure. I'll look elsewhere then while you're. As I was gonna come help Eclipse, and I'm like, oh, Farewell's doing that, and so Cora's now gonna get curious about what else is around, and I'll have a think about what I'm gonna look for.
Yeah. So described everything to you. I can go over it again, but rather than just rolling and getting something, I want to know how you're going to do it and what you're opening, what you're rummaging in. And you look through the bookcase and the desk. The desk seems to have in a cipher. It looks like a personal cipher, a bunch of notes.
23, by the way, for the investigation.
What's that? 23. Okay. You do notice that he's got a bunch of notes that have got a cipher on them.
Oh.
Some of them have got strange diagrams and things like that on there. They're kind of nonsense unless you know what they mean.
Yeah, they are important though.
So I'm going to say you have a pack of ciphered documents, which you can add to your inventory if you wish. As you're starting to search through the, kind of looking at some of the things that's on the desk and some of the things, looking through the books on the bookshelf. With your investigation, you start thumbing through the various books, and it's prominences of the maelstrom that you find.
Ooh.
You kind of go and look to see the book that he would have just put back in.
Yeah.
And you can see that most of the books have been kind of shuftied so they're all even, probably by a butler or something. But this one's still sticking out very, very slightly. And as you pull it out and just thumb through it, just flicking the pages, you can see there's a lot of pencil marks. There's some bits of paper that have been put in there, little torn bits of paper that's put in as bookmarks, because he doesn't fold down the pages because he's not a fucking savage. He looks through you look through there and you notice he's done a lot of stuff with this book, Prominences of the Maelstrom. Give me an Arcana roll.
You get guidance again. Every time you're trying to do something, I assume we're talking to one another, and I will.
I forgot to add the guidance earlier, which was 24 instead. 24. Okay, Arcana.
Changes everything.
Yes, everything.
Because numbers.
Numbers.
It's not D&D if it doesn't have numbers.
Oh yeah, everything's numbers. We don't do role
We
play.
are playing the game of math.
Yes, we play maths.
We play maths. Luck on that one. That is much better. It was nearly a 1. So that is with that and Arcana. It was a natural 19, so very good roll. Where's my Arcana? It's just +4, so 22, 26.
Okay. So yeah,
I'm smart.
you flick through a few pages of this and you go, oh, I know what this is. You've got an arcane background anyway, so the diff was lower for you. And you flick through it and go, oh, right, he's talking about these. So there are sites of power throughout the planes of existence. Some of the earlier Arcana practitioners called them ley lines. And later on, they found out that the ley lines that when they were crossing these places that they called nodes, that's all rubbish. Ley lines don't exist. What it is similar to what they're describing, but not quite. And that is that the maelstrom in Illyrian canon is where magic goes back to being raw power. So where you have all the schools, you have where magic gets weaved into various forms to create illusions, to create elemental effects, to create summonings, things like that. When that energy dissipates back through the world through entropy, which we've talked a lot about in this campaign, it eventually slips into a place called the maelstrom, which has been visualized by arcane scholars as this untamable storm made of magic. Wild magic sorcerers tap into this directly, which is why weird stuff happens and occasionally they explode. Wild magic sorcerers rip magic directly from the maelstrom, weave it almost in an artistic way, just embracing the chaos of the storm, and throw it out into a mostly weaved version of the spell, but hugely empowered because it hasn't gone through all the different control measures and things like that of a wizard. And the maelstrom accesses the planes of existence everywhere because you can get hold of magic anywhere. There are 2 exceptions to this. There are dead spots. There are places of complete negation where magic just doesn't happen. You can't use it. You can't access it. You can carry it in with you. Magical items, depending on what type of magical items they are, some magical items work. Potions tend to kind of store a battery of that magical energy. Some magic items that just basically draw from the maelstrom and just are a conduit don't work at all because they don't carry the energy with them. And so there are dead spots, but there are other spots as well, places of power. And that's what they are. That's all they are. They're spots where the maelstrom ruptures through the fabric of existence and into these places, these locations, these loci. And those places are particularly sought after by magic users who are trying to achieve great works. There's Agonaz's Forge, for example, is set in a demiplane of between the planes where there is such a prominence of the maelstrom. There are others throughout Illyria as well. And by the looks of it, he's read this book cover to cover, and you can tell he's making notes from the anecdotes of people who had found these various places of power. And he, in his cipher, has scrawled in the margins his notes regarding those, whatever site he is trying to claim. You have a feeling that's the case because looking at the places where he has notes, it's all about locating and location.
Maelstrom locations of power.
Yeah. Short term is loci.
Yeah. Let's write it on the right page as well.
Well, that is a dangerous combination of stuff to look into. But I'm not there, so I can't comment.
Yeah. So it's pretty clear from this that this is what he was primarily looking for.
Yeah.
Locals.
Yeah. Loci with power. Okay, Sarwell, he was looking at locations connected to the maelstrom that are very powerful, where your magic gets amplified.
That would make sense if you're trying to complete some ritual to either bring something to you, push it through the veil, through the planes.
We'll see if we can crack this cipher. I think Glory might be good to.
Well, if there's going to be any of us that are used to ciphered correspondence, that would be either you or Glory.
Yes, we'll see if we can figure this out. Do I find anything else, Simon? I didn't. Did I find anything in the bed, like underneath the mattress? Does it keep anything in there?
Okay, you're turfing the bed. No. No.
Does anybody want to look for come on, hidden rooms, loose floorboards?
That's kind of what Cora's doing. I was just Simon. So is all this clearly on display, or have they actually found these in drawers and stuff?
They turfed out all the drawers. It's a mess now.
Sure, right, but they weren't in hidden compartments or anything. They were just like
neatly.
any servant could come in here to tidy and see this, right? This is
no,
very.
They were in the drawers. Yeah. So unless the servant opened the drawers and went through his papers,
sure,
but
they're
in
not
heavy cipher.
Hidden too much. Okay, and it's hidden.
They were hidden to a certain extent, but not to the point where too high a roll was going to be a problem.
Okay, sure, I get.
You found these notes in amongst other notes, so you found them in amongst benign letters to ambassadors and merchant princes.
So sort of hidden. Cora, while they're looking at the desk and the kind of obvious places, Cora starts thinking about like where her experiences from the past of trafficking things, hiding things in places for people to find, that sort of thing. She's actually gonna be kind of what Farewell was just saying is going around the room, looking at places where someone couldn't just stumble across something. So the bottom of the of walls where there's little. I can't remember what they're called, but things that could be hidden places that maybe is, for example, the cipher sort of like code or just something else that he didn't want to leave out to be discovered if his father wonders where he is and comes into his room and starts looking. Something a little more hidden. Which is probably going to be harder to find, and I'm not getting assistance. But, Cora's giving it a go.
I mean, it depends on when it is. I mean, you could always ask.
I don't know, yeah.
Give me, first of all, a investigation.
She's just doing it. Oh, that was shit. Hold on. Yeah, that's a 10.
10, okay. So there are some things you find, but nothing that is a big deal. You've managed to find his cookies. He's hidden.
His cookies? Are they stale or?
No. They seem to be a hidden jar of Keltaland cookies. Very difficult to get hold of here.
Cora definitely takes one and puts them back.
Okay, sure. The Keltaland chocolate is a lot creamier. It's very mountainous, and you think it's done with goat's milk. Very, very nice.
She's got one in her mouth, and she puts very. Oh, we found cookies, but I've not heard anything. No, I know, it's good.
Make a Constitution saving throw.
Yeah, like poison cookies. Anyone snooping around is dead.
Yeah, second roll is a wisdom check without proficiency.
Oh, shit. Okay, there's a better roll, but still. A wisdom check.
Yeah. It's a check, not a save.
Yes. So that's my +3 on wisdom with a 13, 16.
16, not bad.
Very good.
You do find an old knot. You've worked with knots before. They look like simple blemishes in wood. and in the wood paneling, which is mostly perfect. You kind of just see and you go, yeah, that's a knot. You kind of pry it a little bit with your fingers, and the knot comes free in your hand. You take a little bit of the paint with it, and you're like, I'm gonna have to make sure I put that back. There's a tiny roll of paper inside.
Oh.
I carefully remove it and have a look.
Yeah. Okay. The inside is an incredibly steamy note from someone called Luciana, and they don't actually name who it's to, but the things that she's offering, it's wow.
Cora turns red-faced to the others.
What did you find?
I mean, I don't think it's relevant, but just in case. I mean, maybe it's a code.
Eclipse takes it and reads it. Is there anything hidden in here that... Can I make an investigation check on this if there's actually like any useful information?
Because they've both seen it. Both Kate and Eclipse, now that they're over the shock, can make history checks.
Oh no, I'm no good at history. Oh god. Oh, that was...
I will give it to Farewell as well.
16 for me.
I was about to say, I'm like, what are you talking about? And I take it out and it's just like, oh.
You can make a history check as well.
Oh.
I love Nick's like this. It's like, it's a huge no. Are you looking at a picture here?
Yeah, because of course we
exist
in a time where you can't take like selfies or like nude pics. So she's etched a drawing, so it's like as you let go of the bottom of the scroll, it's like it's a full body shot, and he's like, well, that doesn't leave anything to the imagination, does it?
19.
19, sure. Nick?
History, hold on 1 second. That is a 21.
21. Both Nick and Corinne, you've passed. Luciana is Duke Edmund Ostermark's grandmother. So that's been there a while.
Is it to her or from her to somebody?
It's from her to somebody. Presumably his grandfather, you hope.
Yes. Right, I don't think this is relevant.
I mean, somebody.
Luciana was a Meridian. She was a Meridian noble.
Okay, I'll just put that back. That's well, his father hoped he'd get a girlfriend, so.
Well,
I have a feeling that there's a good chance.
That's Tristane's great grandmother.
Yeah, I don't know that. Cora does
you
not
don't know that.
this.
That's right.
Just everybody clips in the farewell. Just look at Cora like. That's his grandmother, dude.
Do you say that out loud? Do you say it out loud though?
Well, no, it would be more.
You do know that Luciana is the great grandmother of Tristane?
Yeah. We should probably put that back. There's a good chance that nobody knew that was there.
No.
And to be fair, for all eternity, I think we should pretend that none of us ever.
And thank you for the bits, Jordan. Thank you so much.
Jordan, we love you. Thank you.
Okay. Extra loot is being put into this session.
Oh my god, is it all cookies? Okay. Cora is actually now, like, as she sort of saw us the last of the cookie, thinking that cookie might be from a great grandmother somewhere. And it tastes pretty good considering.
I mean,
okay. Well, I found cookies, very old cookies, I assume, and that. How did you do?
We found some ciphers, and we found he was looking for locations of power connected to the maelstrom.
Right. You just left those on the desk? Wow, what an idiot. Okay.
I would
Eclipse,
like to...
just for my well-being, just do me a run for like secret compartments that don't include centuries-old smut.
Hey!
Yes.
That was clearly hidden well, and I found it. So
I'm a little worried that that's what you found, and that's where you stopped.
I'm a little worried that he just left all of his obvious weird shit all over his desk where anyone would find it. But yeah,
Well, unless you
search
can
for
read
some
his
more
code.
interesting stuff.
I mean,
Yeah, we need
yeah,
to
but
crack
you
the
would
code,
know-
Cora.
Yeah, but it's still obvious if he's doing something in code, you're doing something no one wants to know about, which makes other people more suspicious, and therefore they would try and find the code. His father knows so many people, you don't think he can figure out a code?
It might be just some more smut. Who knows?
Well, it runs in the family.
yeah, there was something running in that family. Yeah.
Cora suddenly looks
So
around
sad
thinking,
I'm not there for this.
Are there more like servants around thinking, oh shit, are they slacking off the Duke?
No, they've left you in here.
Yeah. Okay, we should probably not do that. Eclipse, you're better at finding stuff than me. Can you find anything else?
I will look for any secret doors or any secret like compartments anywhere in this room, and then I will move on and search the other rooms because there are more rooms.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm
I will
gonna.
also have a look in the lady's vanity specifically because why would he have a lady's vanity?
Because it's 2020.
Glory's not here to tell you. Glory would automatically know why this already is set up for a male and female occupant, but you guys don't know. You're not fucking nobility. You haven't got a clue. So I'm going to say one roll for all the surfaces, both in this room and in the 3 other rooms. And I will confirm that one of them is a garderobe. One of them is a general storage room for things that they're not going to put in the beautiful wardrobes and things like that. They're in the main room. And one of them is a kind of I guess it's a random room. It's set up at the moment as a small workshop, but clearly hasn't been used in a very long time. There's a few enchantment tools. There's a few kind of carving tools and things like that. All of them have a look to them like they have not been touched in years.
Yes.
It's a man cave hobby room.
Yeah. I assume Farrell is helping me with this.
And you're guided.
Okay. So first
Always
the main
take
room.
your cleric. No, it's one roll for the lot.
One roll for the lot.
One roll to search them all.
Yes. Okay.
Guidance.
Yes,
got
guidance.
She's got guidance as well.
Yes. So a 15 on the dice, a 4 on this nice little thing here on the guidance. So that's up to 19. Plus 12 is 31.
Yep, absolutely.
I only wanted that so I could get a roll of eclipses over 30. I was...
that is the most extreme most any check goes.
Yeah, that's the reason why I wanted to do it. I've been trying to do that for weeks.
Okay, inside the behind the just underneath and behind the lady's vanity, you do see that there's a grate, and you can hear that there's a whistling of the wind. The wind's picked up quite a bit, and you should be able to hear the whistling through the grate. You do not. You test it with your thieves' tools, and the grate slips free. And inside the grate itself is a what seems to be magically inert box. So it doesn't reflect any light. It's like Vanta Black box. And when you open it up, it's not locked. Inside is a small robotic hummingbird. Small construct hummingbird. Beautifully made. Every feather, every frond of every feather is perfectly intact.
Had a construct.
Tell me if you touch it.
I do.
Okay. When you touch it, the hummingbird comes to life. The wings become a fluttering aura of silver around the body of the hummingbird, and
Make
the
a
hummingbird
dexterity saving throw to save your fingers.
Yeah.
and the hummingbird starts to hover at roughly head height, and it says, "Hello."
Hello, little hummingbird. Who are you?
I'm Josephine.
Hello, Josephine. What is your purpose?
My purpose,
Hmm?
just to be a companion.
Do you know Tristane?
Yes, I believe I know Tristane.
Hmm. Who made you?
An artificer. I was not furnished with his name. I was a gift.
Who are you a gift from?
I was a gift from the Sultan of Khantum.
Okay. Ooh. Have you been activated often?
I'll give it to you for free. There is no Sultan of Khantum.
Ooh.
Hasn't been for about 400 years. Khantum devolved into a bunch of princes who together hold a court, which makes the Khantum caste system.
How old are you?
I do not know.
When were you last activated?
I do not know. This room looks very different from when I was last activated.
Right.
Describe Tristan. What did he look like when you saw him last?
She describes someone who doesn't look at all like Tristane.
Birds. Right, this one is very, very old.
Is there anything I can help with at the moment?
We're looking. Do you know of any secret compartments or secret places in this room here? Any secret passageways or anything?
There are no secret passageways into this area. In fact, the entire room has been warded, so that scrying through it is incredibly difficult. It's almost impossible to get hold of the information that is discussed within these walls, as befits a lodgings of a future heir of Vardencourt. Other security measures are around here as well, but I do not detect Ostermark blood within you, so I am restricted as to what I can discuss with you.
Can I message? Is Duke Ostergalder still at Ostermark still in the building?
You have no idea. He stormed out.
I will call him servant.
Sure. This time
I hide the hummingbird.
The second that you go up and you go to grab the hummingbird, she lands neatly on your hand and just calmly, calmly curls up into a suitable shape for hand holding, almost as if she's accustomed to being just plucked out of the air. This time it's a high elf young boy.
Yeah.
So you think probably no more than 60 years old, not fully tall yet, and he comes in and says, "Investigators, how can I?"
Could you please send for the Duke? We found something.
I'm afraid the Duke is in the city. Is this of great importance?
No, not. It's more helpful to the investigation. It's not of any great importance right now. Just know that we would like to speak with him at some point. Yeah.
I shall make sure that he is told to come and contact you at his next convenience.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Because he has the Ostermark blood.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have Josephine, a small clockwork hummingbird familiar,
Josephine, yay!
who currently is just in Farewell's hand.
What can you tell us about this room here, Josephine?
The room was originally created, and she goes through almost like a tour guide history of the room, and she gets to a certain point and says, "This is as much as I can tell you without knowing more about what you are, what your authority is in this room."
We are currently we are investigators, and we are looking for a missing the Duke's son who is missing, who is of Ostermark blood.
Oh, then I may be able to help in some way. I am able to hone in on Ostermark blood.
Ooh, that is very useful. So I assume the closest one you will detect is in the city.
I'm afraid I only have a range of 1,000 feet.
Okay. Well, at least I will. She has to find object per spell in her, and yeah.
Yeah. And you know that if the Duke has gone to where the Katoa are, that's more than 1,000 feet.
Yeah. Yeah. But yes, you will be very helpful. Thank you. Yes, we found the. Did I find anything else, or did I just find being the helpful?
You found the hummingbird.
Yeah. The helpful hummingbird. Yep.
That's for looking through panels and things. Yeah.
Now I'm suspicious of his man cave. Is there anything in there?
Enchantment tools and carving tools for the most part.
Anything that would have been attached underneath anything under the workbenches or anything?
That's the same as panels. And
okay.
No. Yeah. You're fairly certain you've gone over every surface.
Yeah. And the vanity. Was there anything in the vanity?
In the vanity itself, there is kind of with military precision what seems to be a kind of guest kit for a young lady.
Okay. I have to ask Glory.
You do. I think Felicia doesn't even need my prompting to explain what this is, but yeah.
Cliff is also very confused why there's two different toilets. They're all just one person toilets that are.
Oh no, there's one toilet.
Oh, there's one toilet. Okay.
There's one toilet. There's the garderobe, and that's it.
Okay. Oh, I thought garderobe was closet, because garderobe is the word for closet in Swedish.
Yep. Unfortunately, the stupid not calling things what they're supposed to be called is that a garderobe was also the word for the shitter.
Okay.
In polite society.
Ah, no, I thought so. That completely changed what I know.
It just means wardrobe.
Garderob. För fan.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, you go in there and it's what you expect it to be. Yeah. It's the toilet.
It's the toilet. Yeah. But yes. So I think that is it. Unless you guys have any other place where I might search, if you have any ideas.
I don't know. I think deciphering these cipher is probably the next thing. I'm sure if we wanted to come back and look, let's maybe not leave the place a complete mess so that the Duke gets pissed with us, or Tristane when he returns. I don't think he'd appreciate the fact that we've been rummaging, so let's maybe pretend that we haven't, or we have at the orders of his father or something. But I think trying to decipher this, I think we need Glory, and then we can always come back and look. That's a cute hummingbird. What the hell did you get that?
I found her in a box. Her name is Josephine, and she can detect Ostermark blood within 1,000 feet.
Of course.
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that's something you hide away behind a grate?
Well, she hasn't been activated in a few hundred years, it seems like, so...
Oh, like the cookies. Get it?
Yeah.
Cookies?
The cookies. I said I found some cookies. I think they might have been
I think
really
my brain
old.
skipped that one. Please tell me you didn't eat the cookies.
I didn't eat the cookies.
Farewell automatically passes on his perception check for crumbs.
How many cookies?
Only one, so that no one would notice, because it seemed like his secret stash. But then I found a love letter that apparently is really old, and therefore the cookies were maybe really old. They didn't taste old. They tasted kind of good. So if they were really old, they preserved really well. That jar was good. What?
When we came here to do the really important, like finding the cheap sun stuff and any
I
stuff,
was looking for that stuff. I just
and
found
you
cookies
stopped at
first.
Cookies and porn.
No, it didn't stop. Some people regard those things as the two best things in life, and you don't need anything else. Some people don't need a kraken to satisfy them. You were the one who suggested that Eclipse go find hummingbirds instead, so...
I was looking for, like, hidden rooms.
I was looking for that shit too! I just happened... I don't know, I'm talented. I found cookies instead. I mean, clearly, if you want to find anything...
Found cookies and porn!
And, maybe a century-year-old smut letter.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That's what I honed in on. I didn't mean to. Apologies. You read it too.
No, but
you looked at it for a little too long, to be honest.
Yeah, you got me on that one.
Uh-huh.
I mean, to be fair, it was really good prose.
Yeah.
Most of the
The
time,
handwriting was delicate.
it's wonderful penmanship, and it was very delicate. But, and you know what? And sometimes, most of the time, when you come across these things, it's like the phallic
Yeah, let's do... Oh, okay.
it is just so on the nose that, you just sort of...
This was classy.
Yeah.
Classy.
And this was actually very graphic, but very classy at the same time. And that's a very unique balance to hit when it comes
to a certain
smut.
degree. I really want to show it to Glory because I feel like she'd appreciate it.
I feel like she's missing out.
We'll bring her back here in a second, and I put it back, but I know exactly where that is. So, and clearly, if nobody's accessed it, we don't know. He might read it on a nightly basis, but it's his grandma, and that would be weird. Forget that. He talks to Kraken. Everything's weird.
He talks to tentacles.
That he never looked at that ever. Just so I can talk to him when we run into him.
Yeah, let's pretend that.
The CSI got weird. You're it's very true, Sean.
Where is Glory? Anyway, where did she go?
The library.
Oh, the library, which I was supposed to be in about 6 or 7 minutes ago.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go with
I think we found enough here for now. I put them back. They're hiding back in the hiding place. Like, nobody touched them. I know. I've done this sort of stuff before. I know.
You stole cookies from people?
No, it wasn't.
You cookies?
Seriously, do you want cookies? We just ate. God.
No.
And I kind of walk out, like, pretending that it's his fault. Like, trying to find the library.
I didn't get any of the snacks. You spent the entire conversation eating. And, like, Farewell follows behind her, like, where are I in trouble?
Again!
10 out of 10, thank you, Minion.
So whilst all of this is going on, Glory, before you hear the why is it? You hear Cora and Farrell arguing. You have about 6 minutes worth of investigation. So you ask the servants, what books of Tristane's did you put away? And so they start taking various books and things like that. And you notice that there's you start to put the books into piles. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And looking at the books, there's 3 distinct piles. One seems to be very much about story. It's about kind of almost biographical tales, but sifting through the kind of truth between the legend, you have a feeling he would have had to have done quite a bit of that. Yeah, overinflated accounts from various bards and things who were trying to sell a book that, without being a complete lie, was going to still pull in the sales. That was one. The second seemed to be very cold, analytical, geographical. Yeah, and he was looking at a lot of nautical stuff. Then the final part was very much about a mixture of arcane and history. And between the two of them, you could see that there was legacies of pacts made between noble houses and gods or demons or other great beings. You pick up one book, we mentioned Skyfang before, and in Stormmount that the blue dragonborn that live in Stormmount, and they're almost exclusively all blue, made a pact with Skyfang to protect the mountain. Yeah. And in return, the blue dragon that they had incarcerated allowed himself to die of old age, and his soul poured into into one of his ribs. And from that rib, they carved the staff, which is now known as Skyfang today. You throw that to one side, because you can see there's no notes that's been made. Even when you open it, the spine cracks a bit. He didn't even read all the way through it. Throw it to one side. But there's others that are like that there, talking about legacy, binding the great families and great individuals throughout history to great power at whatever cost. Tristane, as part of that pile as well, and you weren't sure where to put it to start with. You almost put it into the biographical, but then you flick through a few pages and put it back into this one with history and arcane. And it's a history of one of the nations of the Seven Sails called the Forsaken, and the mysteries of the Forsaken. The book only makes theories, but is very, very disclaiming about the fact that these are only theories. I will allow you to make a preliminary roll. I have trouble with that word. Preliminary roll on one of these stacks before everybody else arrives.
So we had arcane and history.
Arcane and history. Geographical. And then legend, I'll call it.
Legend sounds interesting. The Arcana one I have a good... I can roll high on because I have good Arcana. Yeah, let's take the legend one. I like magical artifacts,
Okay, give me a performance roll.
Performance.
Oh, but that one I'm good at too. And that's a 23.
23. Yeah, you start flicking through a few of them and you're like, it's clear he was trying to filter away to get inspiration of which direction to look in. Take you a while to look through all of this to see if there was something that would work either directly for the Chalice of the Drowned or the Legend of the Drowned itself. But yeah, most of these are seafaring heroes. There's a couple that don't fit the general theme of nautical, but you do notice they're very warlocky. Maybe he's using those as controls. There's about 11 tomes in total. It's a lot of reading.
Yeah.
In 6 minutes, you start to peer through, and you can see that the same thing, it starts to weave through the books that he's reading. And that is legacies of great families who called upon a great power in their downfall to give them a moment of retribution. It's a common theme amongst the lot. But you have a feeling that you haven't scratched the surface.
Legends, seafaring. Let's see here. And then they were calling upon great
downfall, retribution.
Yep.
Okay. And once you come to that conclusion, speed reading for the most part, you hear the arguments coming down the hall.
Cookies!
Either way,
Just mad at me.
I'm not mad at you. I'm just pretending that everything's fine. Where is this library? I don't even know where I'm going. Glory!
Over here. Stop shouting.
Not shouting.
I could hear you from all the way down the corridor.
Yeah, Cora, farewell. You guys are shouting so much.
Now, farewell. Come take a look at this.
Take a look at what?
So, I managed to divide it up into 3 piles so far. I started rifling through the legend, what I call the legend pile. He's been researching these legends of great families who have made deals with powerful people. And other legends where people call upon greatness and all of that thing. A lot of seafaring ones. He has a theme of what he wants to do. I'm thinking he's drawing inspiration from these into what he wants to do with his legacy.
Right, so we found a lot of his notes. They are in cipher. We're gonna go have a look if we can crack that story.
Hold on. What else did you find, just in case it helps with the cipher stuff? So,
okay,
one thing at a time, just because my brain needs to process one thing.
I haven't started on these 2 yet. I'm not the greatest at geography, at least not mainland. I know Scotland geography, and that is a beast in itself because it changes as soon as you cross a border. Like, you can go from the big snowiest mountains into a fucking desert in 2 steps, and don't even get me started on how annoying that is to memorize where everything is.
Yeah, dragons do weird things to where they put their layers. So we've got legends, geography, and what's the third?
History and arcane. I was going to start with that one now.
Okay.
Yes.
Eclipse, do you want to show her the
yes.
cipher?
So we got the ciphers, and the big important. We realized he was researching about the maelstrom itself and where its powerful spots are. They used to be called ley lines, but essentially where ley lines where the tide was more powerful.
Oh no! I've read about things like that before. Let me just think a moment. this takes me back to when I was a kid. Oh, what did Insight say? Simon, may I roll Arcana to check what I know about Maelstrom and power spots?
Well, you are a sorceress, so you get a certain amount for free, but yes, you may.
Guidance.
Okay. Thank you. Arcana, that is plus that. So that is 26.
Okay. Yes, you know that these prominences, to a certain extent, turn up in a lot of places, being that it isn't a case of spike, hole, and the rest is flat. It does kind of undulate.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you know there are certain places that are built on such things. So examples that you know of is that Highguard, which is where the Sky Knights of the Kelterlands are, is built on a very powerful. And so huge amount of arcane boost there. And they have a lot of seers, diviners, oracles there who can see very, very far. Mostly they don't really look beyond the Kelterlands because the Sky Knights only protect the Kelterlands, but they are there. You know that the Silverfins have an underwater city that is mostly run by sirens, tritons, merfolk, merrow, and other sea races. And that is down in a very powerful basin under the sea. And that allows them to do a lot of their enchantments that rely on their ability to use beasts of the ocean, and to be able to breathe underwater, even if their racial profile doesn't allow it. There is a kind of baptism they go through, which allows them to just gain water breathing for the rest of their life, and the ability to swim at high speeds and to start to bend water to their will. You know of the rivals in Meridian, two giant castles that are between the Harran and the Diorin cantons in Meridia, with this giant lake in between. And it's said that when the two castles activate and connect these two powerful prominences of the Maelstrom, that they're capable of doing incredibly large, powerful spells that protect both castles simultaneously. There's other stories throughout Illyria. You know that one of the interesting things about Scalra is that their loci, their prominences, are mutable, because the dragons actually, when a dragon takes over territory, they kind of pull a spike out of the maelstrom and have that as their seat of power. So Kotal, where Freynia keeps his seat, Freynia has his own personal one that he draws around him, in order to be able to channel his power. And that is why no one really fucks with Ideal, because she sat on the throne next to him, right on top of all of that power, and can channel it at will. And yeah, between that and her, speed dial to Tiamat, that's why you don't fuck with your aunt. There's other examples throughout. As for those at sea, there are plenty at sea, and the one thing you do know from your lessons, being that you rolled so high, is that the ones at sea are a bit of a problem. People will normally try to go. There are tons of sunken temples and things like that because you can't control them. Whereas everything else lies within a sovereign land, and they're able to put walls around them, put places of authority and governance on top of them. The High King of Meridia is on top of a fucking mountain. The whole mountain is one of these. Although the mountain has partially collapsed into like a plateau, and the whole city's on top of the plateau. The ones at sea are easily accessible as long as you can get there. As long as you can brave the hazards of the sea, you can get to it. The only saving grace is that the prominences tend to be at the bottom of the sea, tends to always be at floor level, wherever that is. And so most of them are in such deep trenches that most people can't go. The guardians of these particular provinces tend to be various nations of sea folk, the sea elves, the Sunken Court, who are they are one of the factions of the Seven Sails who exclusively live on the sea, tend to have some of these under their provision. The Silverfins do as well. And then after that, there's just various nations of Tritons, merfolk, and so on. So yeah, there we go. But they are more accessible, and not all of them are covered by the factions that I have named.
Yeah, I will relay that to the others. And I will, So, having access to a power spot, well, there's a reason why they're very heavily guarded, or at the very least under the protection of a dragon who has drawn upon it, at least back home. But the ones on sea are, well, they're usually at the bottom, so no one but, well, people who can actually get there can use them. But considering what we know and what we suspect, this is not painting a very nice picture.
Well, he probably won't have any trouble getting to the bottom of the sea.
That is just it.
But it's more than just being able to breathe water. I mean, that deep, the pressures and.
Do you count pressure? Does D&D worlds have pressure?
They do in my world.
Okay.
I was going to say doesn't matter what wizards say. It always matters what the DM says, and if the DM has the opinion that there is bone crushing pressure down there is bone crushing pressure down there.
Yeah, I bet this. Does this world have water pressure, Simon?
Yes, it does. Yeah. Water pressure exists.
Yeah.
You're talking. I mean, there's a limit to even how deep I can go. And I have no problems with water. He'd need powerful magics, specialist equipment, which, it looks like he's been planning this for a long time, but you don't get that kind of stuff, or at least that kind of magic easily. And
if he were to get it normally it would be either for his father or, Renata, if nothing else. So the fact that they don't know about this is...
I mean, we don't know how strong of a wizard or magician he is, so maybe he could cast some of these spells, but...
Scene ended earlier. Sorry, I was about to recognize Minion. Yes, with the pile 4 is the murder mystery where it's gonna happen in several days and somehow written from the killer's perspective. I don't know what that is a reference to.
That would be a Cthulhu.
Yes. Yes. And yes, water pressure exists, and we are all shocked because. Anyway.
Surprised Pikachu face. But anyways, now, I want to get through these two before I draw any more conclusions. I think the arcane and historical pile could be a good starting point for what he wants to do with the power spot. Eclipse, Cora, could you two take a look at the geographical one? Yep. You two took a lot of the map reading and sailing things last time so well, so...
Yes, Cora, all the map reading and all the sailing we did that you definitely knew how to do.
I walk over to her who's with the book and I jab her slightly and probably the hip, to be honest.
The knee.
Sure. You, okay, yeah. After you
sure you don't
with the reading?
want me to look at that? I'm pretty good with a map.
Yeah, but let them think they're helping.
Yeah. Start staring at
I
these
will
maps
look at
going,
the geographical one.
I mean, I'm really good with a map.
I will give it to
Didn't
Farewell,
I
or
start
will help
learning
Farewell.
something on the boat? I can't remember. Like, wasn't I taught by the
Yeah.
captain just a tad about maps? Or did I get it?
You-
I can't remember if I
you-
rolled enough to get it, though.
You needed, I think, another. You tried to get it early. You tried to roll for it early. But yeah, you are most of the way through getting navigator's tools because it was a few weeks there and back.
Yeah.
So,
You
okay,
have a
so I
feeling
learned a bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't
Yeah,
feel
you're-
too...
you're most of
I'm
the
actually
way.
like, oh, wait. Yep. I've forgotten the captain's name because I'm an idiot and I haven't written things down enough. But anyway, I'm like, okay, this makes a bit of sense. Right. Yeah. And I'll try and help Eclipse and go through what I learnt and see if we can figure some things out. And Farewell can always come over and help us a lot more.
Okay.
I cast Enhance Ability on Cora,
Oh.
and I give her Owl's Wisdom,
Oh.
Okay.
Yep.
What does that do
Which
which
again?
means you've got advantage on all checks that use Wisdom, as well as you have Guidance.
Yes, because
Oh,
it's probably
okay.
gonna be a
Maps
survival.
are a
check.
survival thing.
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh.
which was the reason why I was suggesting I do it, because I've got a +9 to my survival.
Yes, we
Yeah.
are gonna let you do it.
You can
He
absolutely do
comes
it.
from a traveling society, so
And in canon,
kind of
I
up
come
on
from
it.
a travelling society, so
Yes, I was gonna have Father Farewell
I mean,
do it.
if you want, you could. If
Oi.
you want farewell, you can. If you want farewell, you can just be watching over Cora's shoulder as she's doing it, and if you want, you can.
no. Gloria
I'll have a
suggested
go,
that this
and then
is
Farewell can take over.
something for them. This
Okay.
is a challenge for them to overcome, and
While
as
while
such,
you're
So
looking at some other
enhanceability,
book.
that's advantage, is it?
it's advantage on all wisdom checks. Yeah.
Sure. Okay. So give me a wisdom with proficiency with advantage.
Go, Cora, go! Go, Cora, go!
Remember, you can roll ones.
Yeah, I rolled a 2 and a 4.
And guidance.
Oh god.
Okay,
You got
and you've got
guidance.
guidance, so add a 4.
Okay, so 4. Well, no, I can't even add a 4. I have to roll, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
roll d4 and see what you get.
it's going to be a 1 on the D4.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it would.
And then
Okay.
proficiency. We'll
Which
add
is another
that
4.
4. So
So we're up to 9,
yeah.
And plus your wisdom.
which I think is a 0.
No, wait, is it survival though?
Yeah, survival, yeah.
Survival's a +3.
Yeah.
Huh?
So
Get there.
12.
so
Wow. Yeah.
12.
Yeah. So you look at the maps in front of you, Cora, and you're like, yep, I've nailed this. I know exactly where Ostergald is. I know exactly where I came from. That's the island that we now own, and that's the route we took there, and that's the route we took back, which is different because that's how wind works. And then you would just and you just realized that you have absolutely nailed the Vardencourt coastline route that you spent 3 weeks there and 3 weeks back studying, and you're like,
really spend that long
nailed it.
sailing? I can't even
Nailed it.
remember. I thought
No,
it was
it's
3
only
days.
3 days.
It's only 3
days,
days, Simon.
sorry,
I think,
no, not 3 weeks. Sorry, 3 days there, 3 days back.
but still, she tried
Uh,
hard.
so actually, yeah,
Yeah.
you're not as far along as I originally thought.
No,
so
no.
sorry, yeah, I thought it was 3 weeks, but it wasn't.
And I think it was only on the way back that I really was. I was watching on the way there, maybe. Anyways, so
Anyway.
I can't
Either
even remember
way.
what I'm looking at the book for. What was I looking at the book for?
And so you were looking to see, what maybe he was divining out of this, where he was maybe
Right, where
looking to
he was
go.
trying to
You're
go.
just fighting. Like, yep, this is
and,
the map.
and you put
There.
out all the maps, Cora, and you as I say,
Yeah.
you nailed that trip. You found
I'm going to
everything.
say it at this point with my
Um,
with my character's passive perception that he's going to go, this is going in circles. This is
Yeah,
going.
you go take care
one
of
of
that.
the other
I'll
maps is
continue
upside
with
down.
this.
Yeah, and so Farewell will actually come around, flip the map the right way round, and then look at it himself and figure it out. Can I roll?
So the map she had upside down, to be fair, was an open sea route. There was no major land masses for Cora to notice, and you were just like, yeah, this mark at the top means that it's the top. And then you just kind of turn it around. Go for the roll.
I will
Okay.
help Farewell.
No.
Okay, fair enough. Well, I didn't need it anyway
Fuck you.
because I rolled a natural 20. So that's 29.
Are you guiding yourself?
Sure. And that's a 4. So it's the exact opposite to what Kate got. That's 33.
So, Kate, you watch as this absolute miracle happens where suddenly you finish, and once Farewell's certain that you finished, and you kind of back away and you're like, yep, there it is, we're here, kind of thing. Farewell goes up, turns one of the maps around and kind of says, yeah, this symbol means it's the top, and starts rearranging all the maps, all the different atlases and things like that. And he's kind of like, yep, he would have wanted this for this reason. And this, what's this book for? It's only good for this one page, and puts it down. And you watch as he starts putting it together, almost like a jigsaw puzzle. And
I'd also want to try and plot out what I would consider to be the logical sailing route to perhaps the closest nautical ley line, just so I could comprehend.
Yeah, I mean, you've got like ley lines, a lot of almanacs saying about storms at sea. There's a particular storm called the Squall. That is very far away from here, and the Squall is both a magical storm, a wormhole, and technically a god. Different campaign. So that I haven't actually run yet. I've written it and run it. So you're kind of like, yep, the Squall will be in that direction. I wonder if that's a ley line. And you can. So you're looking through the various almanacs and writing off certain things, and then you kind of notice there. In a way, it's almost like the areas that he was looking at is almost like a tour that he's trying to plot a route that hits as many of them as possible. Maybe until he finds the right one. And that's as much as you get from that, but it's quite a lot. You're there going, yeah, I mean, if anything, he's kind of choosing the most efficient route between lots of them.
Well, that's not suspicious at all.
Useful, though. I mean,
very useful.
Assuming he's following this path, and assuming that he's been gone for, say, you would need time to plan this after the attack, or leading up to the attack, and he's disappeared sometime thereafter. That's the timescale we're working to, isn't it?
Well, he's been gone since just after you rescued him.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Which was before the siege.
We rescue him because everyone's worried, and then he goes missing, and nobody asks us to rescue him again. What?
No, because
Yeah, well, there's different types of kidnapping. Either way, before we proceed with history and arcane, we should take a break.
Yeah.
Yep. We'll take a 10-minute break, but if you enjoyed our particular brand of chaos, then please join the Discord link below and join us and follow us for our other broadcasts. Yes, we're going to take a 10-minute break, and we will see you then.
And Simon has to sort out that loot bomb that was very kindly dropped on us.
I don't think the loot bomb has actually been dropped yet. I think just Jordan said loot bomb incoming.
Yes, it's incoming, which means the bomb's ahead of you in the session. Yeah.
No,
has he actually dropped it yet?
Yes, the chat says he did.
Oh, chat says he did? Because I actually
redeemed all games.
Oh, good, okay. Because I hit the amount I needed for a loot bomb at the same time, and I got confused because it was like, do you want to do this? So good, it got dropped. It did drop. All right, all right.
Well,
we'll go.
Thankfully, none of the players can drop bombs on their own games, but they can drop bombs on other people's. So yeah. Anyway,
right.
See you in 10.
Bye.
I do have a request for the DM.
Yep.
I've
Okay.
also sent you a message on Discord, so have a look at that when you can.
And we're back. Hello, guys.
Exciting. I'm
Hello,
I'm intrigued.
everybody.
Private
Okay.
DMs.
Yeah. Okay. Nice.
So my question is, can I, from the information that we've gathered, extrapolate 3 points on the map? One, assuming that he travelled straight there to all of his points, stopped maybe for 1 day, ideal travel, setting off immediately, and then we'll just do 2, and then 1 if he say had to wait a couple of weeks to get stuff together, whereabouts I think he'd be. You don't have to give me anything, just so that I can mark it on the map, just so I have rough ideas.
You certainly write off saying, yeah, they've definitely got to these by now, so they're either here or they've moved on. They wouldn't have got to any of these yet, so you kind of draw a margin of where you think he would be on the route, if he's still moving.
Cool. I will mark that on the map. Going to take this with me as my copy.
Sure. If you ask any of the servants, they will tell you that you may take any of the books you want as part of your investigation.
Wasn't going to, but that's nice to know.
Okay.
Yeah.
I believe you had one more pack to go through, or did you want to do any more with the current
I think
packs you're looking
Felicia wanted to do that, but she's having a bit of a nom.
at?
Oh.
Nom nom nom. She found cookies as she was searching the piles, and we all
Not
know
disgusting like floor cookies like Cora did.
they were in a jar. They were well.
I had a
preserved.
servant bring them in. Thank you very much.
Not floor cookies.
Secret stash cookies. There's a difference.
They're secret floor cookies.
Which,
Secret floor cookies.
hey, 500-year-old rule.
Right.
500-year-old rule.
Well, some of the old stuff is very good, Cora. I'm glad you have taste.
We
I mean,
really
I've heard
need to
of
show Glory that
dry-aging,
method.
Even I think that's kind of, pushing it to the extremes.
Okay, so yeah, you've with the sea routes you've got there, Farewell, you're pretty sure you'll be able to just grab hold of a decent seafarers maps and be able to plot down on there where you think it is. Draw the same margin, so you don't have to take all of those books.
Cool.
Nice.
What would you like to do?
I want to look in the history and arcane stack. Because it has arcane in the title, so I should be good at it.
Sure.
Guidance.
So most of the stuff based around this is ghost-bound items, spirit-bound items, ancient ancestors who have bound themselves to castles or statues, things along these lines. You know that, especially before the formation of the new order,
Everything goes back to that.
Before the new order, there was a lot of magics that somehow have been lost throughout time. Because there's some of them kicking around in Skalra, where powerful arcanists would do like a great work upon their death. As they were dying, they would have some sort of spell that is ready, triggered by their death, that would do something. There's things that are fabled, like a sorcerer that turned into a mountain. Literally, a mountain grew out of the ground the second that person died. That hasn't been corroborated, but it's like the Arthur's Stone legend in the UK. There's about 50 Arthur's Stones in the UK if you look for them. But there's a couple of mountains where the locals claim that the whole thing used to be fields, but then a sorcerer died, and that's where it came. And this is the mountain. Yeah? So yeah, then you know that there are kind of in the Harry Potter-esque thing where Lily sacrifices herself, where as a member of a noble family dies because they were so powerful with magic. With their death, they bestowed their magic in what is kind of like an ultimate flash enchantment, enchanting the castle with their strength. And the most common part of that is just strengthening the castle itself, making it so that regular siege weapons and things like that just bounce off the walls, and they have to find other ways to go in. It doesn't so much give examples of those castles, they are littered around the place. There are certain ducal houses and things like that. You may even be in one right now that has been magically reinforced through the sacrifice of its antecedents. So, yeah, you have a look through a bunch of things like that, but then you can see that there's a few things where you're like, yeah, this is probably what he was looking for. And I want you to give me an Arcana roll.
Good shit.
Guidance.
So 27.
27. So you can see that there are magics based on mass sacrifice. Now,
Why
you know
does-
about mass ritual sacrifice, but there is mass self-sacrifice as well, where an entire noble family will sacrifice themselves, maybe just so that the air remains, or that the land gets cleared of a curse, or that the people are saved, that the family gets obliterated, but they've done their noble duty in protecting the people. There aren't many examples throughout history that do this, but especially where certain arcane lines literally come through the blood, which you know the Tezcacotls have that kind of power. There are certain things that have been bestowed upon you from Frania many generations ago, and it's accumulated into your blood and the black dragon scales that are dotted all over your body. So, yeah, there are certain bloodlines.
I know who my grandpa is.
Power. And you
Somebody
also
had to
hear
seduce the
of
dragon.
a way of cheating death.
Well, great grandma
But not
was a
the person.
very powerful person. She sure as hell seduced a dragon.
We need to talk about the origin story of your family at some point. But yes, you do notice that there's a way of cheating death, not the person, but the power. And for this, you're reading one book, and you have a feeling that you hit kind of almost the nail on the head of a Jasperan tribe, where when a Jasperan dies, they pass all of their magical prowess, all their power, to a younger member of their tribe. Normally somebody who has almost attuned to that person like a magical weapon. And when the master dies, the person attuned to them suddenly gains all the power. It's mostly based in sorcery, but there are elements of wizards and warlocks using it as well. The only danger to this is roll me a history check.
Good luck.
Guidance.
I rolled my guidance dice. 19. No, wait. 21. I got over 20. Thank you, guidance.
So the only danger to this is that this person could be a walking time you know that sorcerers are
Wait, is the student or the master the walking time bomb?
the student.
Okay,
The person that it's passed to. And they could be a walking time bomb because sorcerers normally dare themselves to pull a little more of that thread of power. Like you yourself. Your dragon blood, your dragon blood, as you're teasing more and more of that power from whatever source dragons get their magic, which you still don't know. The dragons keep it very hot. Those dragons that do know keep it as a secret, not even telling people like Tezcacotls. Yeah. When you're drawing that power from wherever the dragons get it from, you are kind of, as you get more practiced at it, as you can start just doing things naturally as a flourish, and wielding magic becomes no different to waggling your fingers, or drawing a picture. Yeah, as you become well practiced, and you know that you're going to be able to make the right line, you're happy to do it faster, with more of a flourish. Yeah. You're able to do it when you're distracted. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Giving all of that power and dumping it into an individual that is unstable. They could be a time bomb. However, the power that they have means that at 21, if you were to sacrifice a whole bloodline and you had that active, so much power would go into one individual. Yeah. Probably make them just explode. Unless they were trained for it. That's one theory. Another theory is that why sacrifice a whole family when you could potentially pour all that power into one person and sacrifice that one person?
I think I know.
Then there's other permutations of this where they're saying there's something to do with sacrifice, the movement of power, and then the application of that power to do something. Mm-hmm. Maybe it isn't about finding a prominence, but creating one. You're not sure. All of these theories are potentially sound. Even with a roll as high as that, you get possibilities. What you don't get is certainties. But you have a checklist now to look out for.
Yeah.
My leading theory on all of this is that he's going somewhere. He's going to use the Chalice of the Drowned. He's going to take all the power that they have together, pour it into himself, and sacrifice himself for something.
I don't know.
Yeah, but still drawing power from the ley lines like that.
There are no ley lines by us.
Yes, the power spots, but
I think it's more likely he's planning to sacrifice somebody else, to be honest.
You think?
Well, no, I think he's more of a sacrifice himself kind of guy than sacrificing someone else kind of guy.
But the problem is he'd have to
I don't know him.
tune himself to almost that level of magical energy to draw it into himself.
The question is...
And that would take time.
Yeah, he's going to have to attune himself. I don't know if his goal is to somehow use this to get rid of the Kraken to prevent the day of the... Was it the Red Sun or Red...
No, day of the Dark Star.
Day of the Dark Star.
Night of the Dark Star.
Night of the Dark Star. Or if he's getting this for the Architect, but he left before the Architect and he doesn't... I don't think he had much information on him.
I've got a feeling this is likely not to have anything... Well, it could have something to do with the Architect. I mean, it could be an incredible power to once and for all stop somebody, because of course, you can't kill a demon on this plane. You only banish it back to its plane on the Nine Hells, and the only way to permanently kill...
the abyss.
We don't even know if he knows about the attack on the city.
Well, it depends.
He could have left beforehand.
Devils and...
Yes, demons, abyss, devils, hell.
Yeah.
Yes.
Potato.
Either way, he has
pineapple.
been looking into legends and the creation of legends, especially noble families and their legends.
And that's the thing I can't tie together. I completely get
He
where
wouldn't
Eclipse
do
is
this
coming
if
from.
he wasn't certain that at least his name would live on.
You
Which
think?
doesn't make sense because he is not married and does not have any known children yet.
Well, it's wasn't it also researching the end,
Yeah.
the downfall and retribution of Budla, and also
Yeah, I don't think he's doing this to maybe make his name last forever. I think that's a very Tezcatlipocal thing. If I'm
I think
not to be rude, Glory. I mean, going down in a huge blaze of glory that writes your name in the annals of an entire plane of existence for the rest of time is a very you thing, as I understand it. I think Eclipse is right. He's trying to hopefully selfishly end himself, selflessly end himself, so he can stop something.
Yes, which I think the most likely where the connection of the dots is the Kraken. It's the main theme with the sea and the nautical, but the Kraken might just be a red herring and it's something else. We need to crack these documents. I think there are some keys in here. Does anyone recognize these ciphers?
Oh, let me take a look at that.
Do we recognize the ciphers?
I will assist Glory in review, as I've not seen these things yet. And you will get guidance as well. So you've got advantage in guidance.
It depends. I want to know what role it is. If it's me helping you or you helping me.
Or whoever it is. What is the...
This is heavily in arcane.
Okay, I am rolling. Let's see some glory love in the chat, please.
I work some sort of weird divine bullshit that gives you like quadruple advantage or some stupid shit like that.
People do
Can
some
you do
glory
that?
love. Some glory love in the chat.
Ooh, okay. Well, thank you for the guidance. I needed that.
Good.
So that is 17. 19, 20, 23.
What is the email's not working for you, Kate? That's
There's
weird.
no space.
There's no. Odd. Anyways,
Okay.
23.
Okay, at 23, you start to look at these ciphers, and do you have any spells that allow you to comprehend language?
That I do. I know the tongues spell.
Tongue spell. Let me just look it up. This is important.
I think it's only spoken languages.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I said, do you have anything like it?
Yeah.
As in, have you studied in that direction? I don't need to know the exact ruling of it. I need to know if she's studied anything like it.
Tongues,
right. Okay.
animate objects, teleportation circle. Those two don't really do it.
The point is, you've studied something similar. You can see that the way that this scrawling of glyphs is written down, they aren't glyphs. They're drawn in arcane ways. They're drawn almost in the same calligraphy as arcane glyphs. But they're nonsense. Everything you look at, complete bloody nonsense. You have a feeling that this is not just a cipher as in a cipher that is made by intelligence, but a cipher that is made unintelligible by magic.
Oh.
Now, as you look at it, I'm going to give to you free that you just quickly kind of go, nope. The writing itself is not magical. Yeah? Give me... No, you've already done the roll, haven't you? No, in that case, no. Do you have the identify spell?
Yeah. Farewell.
You do not. You believe that the identify spell might be able to tell you more.
If no one of us has it, I will call on Poe's servant to see if they have any Magi Domestica or any magical gifted who have the identify spell on them.
A scroll of identify would be very useful, right?
Yes, a scroll of identify, or if one of the servants have them themselves.
One of the servants says, I'm not sure if I can authorize. I'd have to ask the Chamberlain. I'll be right back. And shortly after that, the half-orc woman walks in and says, you wanted an identification scroll.
Yes, I did that, or if someone can cast the spell themselves and tell us. We found something that would need the identification spell.
Duke Arsamark's archivist is currently at the university. But here's a scroll. And
thank you very much.
Just hands you a scroll of identify.
I will snatch it.
Oh, okay. I was going to read it because I can't read it, but whatever. Whatever.
Yep. You kind of start.
This is my puzzle.
You start toning it, and as you tone the spell, the ink on the scroll starts to glow, and with a flash, it disappears.
You cast the identify.
You are now, and as you're toning it, you're putting your hand on the cipher documents, and one of the aspects of identify, most people use it on magical items, but it can also tell you if an item has been created by magical means. And the second that you do it, you're like, yes, this was made by an enchanted item, a pen of single cipher.
Is that the pen that Farewell has?
Sorry, say that again.
Is that the pen that Farewell has? Farewell, can you try writing anything down with that pen you stole?
Hey, before you say that, I want you to do a perception check versus his sleight of hand. To say,
because I
see whether you can even see it.
Okay, I will do a perception check. My perception is not great.
Is there still a
sure you
certain
Either way, I will
when
just
she says
state that it was written
I
using an enchanted pen.
I didn't roll higher than my passive, but he would be rolling against my passive anyway, wouldn't it?
No, he said to roll.
Yeah.
It's got to be what you rolled. What did you roll?
Well, I did not roll great at all.
Well, Farewell needs to do a sleight of hand, so...
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll go first. Mine's an 18 for sleight of hand.
I did not roll higher than that.
And
but,
yes,
but I did notice the missing pen, so I was like, well, there was a missing pen. I wonder where that went.
yeah, Tristane must have taken it with him.
Yeah.
Yes, Corinne is correct. He would have been going against her passive, but she had rolled at that point. So, yeah, and I did ask for a roll. So there we go, golden roll. Yeah, so.
Can I not read what says on the paper at all, even with that spell?
Know.
Okay.
Yeah, you know if you know that a pen of single cipher was used. A pen of single cipher is a pen that is created, and the pen when the pen is created, the metal of the pen is like a fountain pen. A drop of blood is put in there from the user, the intended user, and anything that's written in with that pen comes out as complete garbage for anybody other than the person who wrote it. Only the person who wrote it can read it.
Okay.
Used very typically, and it's you know this pen. You've seen this pen before, Glory. Many of your family have it for writing their journals.
There's no way other than using Tristane's blood.
No, the blood was put into the steel of the pen when it was created, and so it means that when that person writes down, only the person who wrote it can read it.
Is there a way to remove this enchantment on it? on the letters?
No, because
gonna
it's
roll-
not in the letters. It's in the pen.
Well, like the DM answer.
The scrawling of nonsense. It's not in the pen and it's not in the ink. It's in the person. So when the person rereads the nonsense, their mind knows what it means. So it doesn't matter that somebody else reads it. It's mostly that you're not writing down words anymore. You're writing down memory symbols that your brain recognizes and reconfigures it into what they wrote.
If I wrote something with it, it would make sense to me, but everybody else
No.
would read it and it'd be gibberish, or it would be gibberish for me and I couldn't read it and it would make sense for Tristane.
Felicia, roll me a quick Arcana check.
Okay. Uh, 18.
Okay. Even though the pens are originally made for one person, they can be reattuned to another person by sitting in a small pool of that person's blood. So put put some blood in a saucer or something like that. Put the pen in the blood, and it will reattune over 24 hours.
Okay.
Can you read things that the thing has written after that, as in before?
It's not
By
in the pen.
reattuning it.
It's not in the words.
Person,
it's in the brain.
Right, so it is spell locked in effect to the individual, and there's no way that we've got of overcoming the cipher, unless we physically become Tristane himself and have his brain. We can't read this.
I mean, alter self.
No.
No, because
alter safe does not give you the memories.
Yeah, you're copying. I still think it's worth taking with us.
Maybe Renata can help. She knows Justine very well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She still wouldn't be able to read it.
She might be able to. We don't know what her powers are. She has.
Why
Also,
would he not
Glory,
take it with him?
You don't know that Farewell has the pen.
Yeah.
These pens are worth upwards of around about 18 to 19,000 gold.
Yeah, but I never said I told him that he could reattune it.
He pretends to be such
you
a
don't know
good
he has
boy.
it.
Well,
No?
bear in mind, we've been talking to Glory's head right now.
Yeah.
As she's been there doing this. Unless you've had the conversation, Farewell doesn't know what Glory knows, and Glory has no idea that Farewell has it.
I get confused about this because sometimes we seem to discuss things as if we've just been told them, and other times we don't. So usually I try and ignore, but we were talking as if it'd been said out loud.
Well, I'll ask the question. Felicia, do you explain why we can't read the cipher?
I explained that you can't read the cipher because it is connected to Tristane's mind.
Okay.
And you explain how this was.
Do you explain how?
Because the pen used to write it is a special magical, special magical item.
Yeah.
I've seen a couple of them throughout the years. Basically, everyone in my family uses one.
Why would he leave these ciphers here? Maybe
Because no one else can read them anyways. It doesn't matter if he leaves them laying around.
But why would he not need them?
He didn't consider that it would be important for where he was going.
Well, which makes me wonder if they're important at all. It could
Probably
be.
not.
I mean, it could literally be, "Dear diary, I saw a girl today. She was so cute," and that's it.
Oh, trust me, I have written a few of those. That could sure be it.
That doesn't surprise me at all. But it could
Except
be.
Glory doesn't give a shit who reads it. She doesn't need one of these pens.
She's writing her novel version for the publishers.
As mundane as that.
Well, the only one who I can think who... Well, also, I don't know if there isn't... No, I don't think it would be enough magical similarities with the Duke, but Renata might be able to do some... if anyone can do anything about reading the ciphers, it would be Renata.
I don't think she can.
I don't think she can. I think it's even beyond her.
Well, there's no harm in asking. If we don't ask, we will never know.
Okay. So, opinions fully formed with that. I will say to you, Felicia, you only did a quick scan of the legend ones.
I would like to go back to them if
sure.
that
you
is
can package
okay.
them up and have them taken with you if you wish.
Yes, because I like those legends too, because they're magical artifacts and powers, and it's just like,
Yep.
Good reading.
There's several there that you think might be kind of red herrings right from the start, or maybe he was just reading it as light relief between the two, or maybe he was reading in the wrong direction. So you do notice that one of them has a connection with Naruka, funnily enough, because the artifact is currently in Naruka, in the Golden Temple. And this is just an interesting tidbit that you find along the way. That the dagger Sashul, a double dagger that curves like an S with a handle in the middle, is an animated dagger that is a throwing dagger, but it's known to be one of the more cantankerous of the soul-bound items. Sashul, as you throw it, if they don't like another target, if they hate another target more than the target that you threw at, it has been known to change course.
And if it hates you more than what you throw it at,
it has killed 2 of its previous owners.
Which is the reason why you don't get sentient weapons, ladies.
No, sentient weapons are bad.
Sentient weapons are bad.
It's currently bouncing around in a cage in the Narukan Temple.
Yeah, it's where we were, yeah. Some very angry weapons. Yes, let's set weapons. No, Sean, they are not. They're not great, they are bad, and they will kill you for being...
So far, the sentient weapons that have been used in the games that I've run so far have been Isa, Strike, Skyfang, and Sashul.
I think
I was one of the people that Sashul killed.
Well done.
Killed one of my player characters. Turned on me in the last minute, the bastard. So yes.
Anything else we need?
I think we've gotten most of the things from here. We can speak to the Duke when whenever at his convenience, so he can ask Josephine.
Well, he told us to contact him through Renata, so I'd say we go speak to her, and then we head out to see if we can intercept his journey.
Yeah.
It's late. Would it be better to do sleep and then do this in the morning?
Probably. I'd like to pore over these legends a little bit more. There were a few that caught my fancy, but I wasn't really able to as I was skimming through. There were some of the seafaring ones were interesting enough.
Yeah, so how about we call it a night, withdraw, spend the rest of the evening calculating some stuff, get some sleep, get up in the morning, and continue from there. Full day.
Sure.
Yeah? I mean, we can go find you more snacks if you want more snacks, Cora.
Oh, I still have a platter over here. I had him bring it in earlier when I was reading.
Sure.
I mean, I'm hungry.
Yeah. Cora gives him a look, but then waits till he looks away and then heads over to the platter.
It's like, don't judge me. You don't know me. Turns his back. Does exactly what he expects.
You don't know me, where I've been, what I've done.
What I've eaten.
I'm eating the crisp.
What have I eaten?
What time is it in real life? Like, not in real life. That would be weird.
In the game.
In the game.
I'm going to say it. At this point, you probably hit about 8 p.m.
Oh, okay. It's not like 1 in the morning.
Late.
No. I mean, but bear in mind, he was seeing you for like an early supper. It wasn't even sunset yet.
We'd been in a library for a while. Cora's a bit
I
bored.
still find
it
it weird that you eat dinner so late.
Yeah.
Because for me, dinner is 5 p.m.
You get used to it.
I don't get home till 8 sometimes. So.
But most people finish
I know that most people finish at that time, but it's still so foreign for me because I've grown up with a diabetic dad. So lunch is always 12 and
Yeah.
dinner is always 5.
Yeah.
There's no
like
questions
clockwork.
about those two.
It sounds good, and I'm going to miss it when the lockdown goes, because at 5 o'clock, I'm not even going to be finishing work. I finish work at 5:15. I've been waiting for the bus until like 6:30 before.
Oof.
So
Yeah, no, thank you.
Mm.
Yeah, so should we head back? What do you want to do?
Yeah, that's
I mean, I'm kind of done with books.
Well,
It smells
depending
in here.
on if we're gonna intercept his course, we could talk to Renata, ask her to during the night get a a ship.
We have a
well,
ship.
at least the personnel for a ship.
We have
How
the
are we
personnel for
gonna-
a ship.
We have two ships where we need the people to.
We do. We have 2 Shacklemen that we dropped them off at the dock when we first got back.
And whether we have ships or not, he's been traveling for weeks. We're never going to catch up to him.
we probably need a bigger ship. We might want to catch passage on a ship that can take like the ocean.
Our ships can take the ocean.
They
would-
can,
Well,
but
we
we
voted
want
fully
the
ocean going.
faster one.
Yes,
Faster one is
probably
a smaller
fast-
one. We can go on a smaller one. That's just us. I still don't think it's probably fast
I
enough.
don't feel fully confident. Just us being on a boat and not knowing exactly what we're doing.
Yeah,
have
and
a
this time I
crew.
want my own cabin. Okay.
What's wrong
My
with
point being,
cabin?
how are we ever going to catch up with him? One, we don't know where he is, and he's been
Oh,
traveling
I've
for
got a pretty
weeks.
good idea where he might be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we
figured
beam?
out.
Farewell
Like,
rolled 30 plus.
I'm pretty goddamn sure I know where he is.
okay. But
Farewell
do you...
knows how to catch up.
Yes.
And I'll explain why.
Well, okay,
Is
but
that-
Cora doesn't know this, so...
No, Cora doesn't. No, absolutely. Yeah.
No,
But
and if
I
you
would
want,
say that
I
he
can
could
go
catch up
get-
if you wanted.
I can go get the nautical maps and I can
No,
explain.
no,
it
no,
to
no,
you.
no more explaining of maps. It's fine. If you think you can catch up,
Sure.
I just thought Glory maybe can beam us somewhere really quick. We've got...
Well, she'd have to
inflatable
know
boats.
the teleportation circle. That's how that
Yes, there
works.
is.
Well,
Right?
I don't know. God, I'm hungry. And I'm
Depends
gonna
how
just think,
close
and
to
I'm just gonna
Scotland do
sit
we
down
need
not
to be?
knowing what's happening. Like,
I don't
too
think
many
he's
story
going
books.
sweetheart, currently I know a few teleportation circles, whereas 3 of those are in Natal Saran, so
That won't really happen.
it depends on where we need to go.
That's
Not
the key
that
part.
direction.
And that, Farewell, you're pretty sure that teleportation would be part of it. If you were to catch him up, you can take your folding boat, turn it into a brick, put the brick in your bag, get into a teleportation circle, teleport ahead, get in a boat, and come back the other way.
That's kind of
You're
where
pretty sure
Cora's
that-
brain was going, so that's what she was thinking.
Yeah.
Looking at
right.
your...
Okay, then we were talking about the same thing, but in different ways.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's exactly what we should do.
But either
not
way,
now.
we still have the
'Cause I need to
university. We could just take their teleportation circle to any of the public ones all over Ilaria.
We still need
So-
someone who knows how to drive a boat.
We have that. We have a whole
Farewell.
crew.
You know that you may want to note this down, Nick.
Mhm.
In order to head him off, you need to take the teleportation circle to Sylvania, which
Okay.
is to the south. It's a predominantly elven place. It's almost entirely covered in woodland.
Mhm.
Most of the
Trees.
people there are either wood elves or high elves.
Mhm.
They are borderline xenophobic.
Okay. Xenophobic murder elves. Yeah.
And although they do allow people there as long as they've gone through the right channels and all the rest of it, but they don't. They're very suspicious of outsiders. And you need to go to the city of Goldastamount.
Which I assume is a high elf city.
It is a high elf city.
Right.
My other
And then
character would have
sail
tons
from
of
there.
contacts to go to Sylvania.
If you
I
sail
have
from
none.
there, you will be taking weeks of sail travel off and catching his meandering route at the nearest point.
Sounds like
Yes.
a plan.
We just need some people we can have on with the boat, because we still don't know how to drive that
Yeah,
thing.
because last time we used some shacklemen, but they left already, if I remember correctly, because they went back to their ship.
Yeah.
We just borrowed them for one mission.
I mean, the green organization would have people who can drive
Yeah,
boats.
they probably have it. We just need to talk to them first.
Literally,
Yeah.
last time
Yeah.
we were just at the docks and we asked. That's all we need to do.
Yeah. And I'm sure
That
you
too.
those of you that can stomach being in the same room as her, can ask her for sailors to assist. I will help us get ready for the journey, as I don't particularly want to be in the same room as that woman again for a while.
I still have the water breathing
long while.
potions. They might come in handy now. Either
I
way,
can.
you can, but for us.
Hold on. Let me just double check. And you watch as Farewell sort of flips to the back of his book. And I just want to double check. Breathe water, walk. Do I breathe water? I don't think I do. So sorry, I've got so many bullshit cleric spells.
Yeah.
Like, so I forget like what spells I actually bloody can do and what I can't.
I'm so glad I'm a class that I get to
No,
pick what
I can't
spells
do
I know.
those. I can't do water breathing. I can do water walking, which, you know, if I wanted to do my best Jesus impression, I can. Like, you know, like showing off.
Farewell. Oh,
control it.
Nick.
Yeah.
Farewell would be Green Jesus.
I like that.
Yes. I knew you would get that one.
Yeah.
Oh yes, yes, I did. Same.
I have no idea what they're talking about.
They're talking
It's fine.
about
No idea either.
World of
Wow.
Warcraft.
World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
Green
Bral is
Jesus.
officially Green Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Lokdar, friends.
Luktar.
Eh, Thrall, a name I know. My God. Okay, right. So. Okay.
But yes.
Oh wow, I spelled that city right without even looking.
Indeed, Jordan.
Shall we-
Indeed.
Shall we head back to the tavern?
Sure. You get back to the tavern and
On the way back,
Okay.
I kind of want to pull Glory to like one side
Mm-hmm.
and be like, so if someone happened to have one of those pens, hypothetically,
Mm-hmm.
is there any way that they could then use it?
Oh yeah, it's pretty easy actually. You just fill up a small bowl with your own blood, and then you let the pen sit in it for a few hours to a few days until it attunes to your blood instead of the one that was used to create it.
Cool. Thank you.
Would you like help with that?
No, I'm okay. No
I do
offense.
have a few ceremonial bowls if you would like something fancy for it.
I'm pretty sure I've. I don't know how to say this in a nice way, but I don't want a black dragon cult sorceress having my blood.
It's not a cult, Farewell. It's a religion. The cult are a totally different set of people, and they're likely more insane than my family is.
As somebody that is a member of an organized religion, I can assure you, it's a cult. I mean, hands down, it's a cult.
Farewell. Would any sane person tell my aunt that it's a cult? You met her.
And that's why it's a cult.
Yep.
Ah, you are delightful.
Thank you. And your family scares the living shit out of me.
Good.
I don't want to go back there.
And I am really scared for when the next time that you make us go back there, because we barely got out alive. And we're going
Don't
back.
worry. And next time we'll only stay for a day, maybe 2 tops if we stay the night. It's only for a party.
You're responsible for Eclipse because I'm not taking that one on. And
I
I'm not
am
even
sure
joking.
she will not start a party amongst noble dignitaries from all around the world.
Murder.
This is Eclipse. She'll do one of two things: speak her mind very, very loudly and without a care, because that's just who she is, or she'll disembowel somebody because they've gone and offended her. And
well, that's what we have to
answer,
do. That's what the tournament is for. So it should be fine.
please don't put her in a tournament. I'm not stitching her up. I'm not stitching any of you up.
Oh, don't worry. It's usually just the children, but any adults who create beef during the festivities also usually just duel it out until they get it out of their systems.
I'm sorry. You make children fight in a tournament. This isn't to death, is it?
No, of course not. It's for glory.
So how do you know when to stop?
When the other person is unconscious, of course. See, I won my tournament on my naming day. It was amazing. You should have seen Excellence's face. He had 2 years above me, but he still fell. It was great.
Right. So let me get this right. You all worship a giant black dragon. You do acts of greatness in its name. You make your children, in order to earn their name, fight each other until one is near death for the edification of the masses, at which point they are anointed a name which is supposed to, in effect,
well, no, you get the name beforehand. The tournament is voluntary, but usually most of the main family joins in because, well, it's such a good opportunity to just show how great we are over all the others.
Yeah, this is definitely a cult. I mean, like,
besides,
this is 101.
The best point of the night is when my mom and my uncle Revenant duke it out for who gets top spot for the year. See, like, we all know my mom is the strongest, but technically Revenant is the leader of the army because he's better with strategies and not just chopping heads off. You know how it is.
No,
but
I really don't.
No. I'll be honest, sometimes I have like very, very loose frames of reference for the world that you live in. In this moment, I have, and I mean this sincerely, absolutely no clue as to how on earth any of you have amassed the single amount of power or the amount of people you have, because I mean, you are literally 2 steps away from everybody drinking a special brew the next time the meteor comes and like dying en masse.
Oh, no. It's all in good fun. Besides, mom and uncle don't really like hurt each other too much. They usually just fight until both of them fall unconscious because of sleep deprivation. Last time it took over a week.
I'm fascinated and horrified at the same time.
I family haven't got shit on the testicles, I just have to say.
I know. I don't get it. I really don't get it at all. I mean, why would you need to?
Well, mostly for fun, but at this point they do it more out of, tradition. So we've grandfather decided, well, before I was born actually, that they're only allowed to do it when it is a naming day, which luckily doesn't happen as often as it did beforehand. So now it's only like once a decade instead of once a year, But it's still called their yearly fight because tradition, by this point.
You
Oh,
have a
look, we're back.
scary
Oh,
life.
good. Huh.
Yeah, there's that moment where he's like, Perrault's like, oh, thank fuck, we're back at the horse and harness.
And tradition is only peer pressure from dead people.
Ah.
Don't say that to the dead people.
Yeah, the dead don't deserve that, right?
Yeah, besides, it's not like they
their
have a choice.
Revenant.
Yeah, it's not their fault that you're stupid.
Well,
Not
Glory's mom is called Curiosity. So, you know.
Because she said it, and because it's fucking farewell, give me a history check.
Okay. I will guide myself. I'm not sure what.
You don't know why, but you're doing it.
But I just feel the innate need to do so. Hold on. History, yes, history.
You should be good at history.
Not 18.
Okay. You remember a newspaper article from about 6 years ago that you just picked up in a town that you were passing through at the time. And you remember it's where you just get this flashback where you go, Curiosity. I remember reading about somebody called Curiosity. And the title was Curiosity Tezcatlipoca, the Black Reaver Knight.
Gloria's only referred to her mom as either.
Is...
Yeah, she's always referred to her mom as mother or mom, and other people have said Fury, so you wouldn't have connected it.
Yeah, and Curiosity Tezcatlipoca, the Black Reaver Knight. You remember reading about this particularly bloodthirsty knight who literally has to be held back by a dragon, and nothing else will stop her from going off on one. So she's reined in by Frania.
Oh, we are not taking Eclipse with us, okay? we are not. I don't care what you say that it's only
I'm
for a day or
sure
two.
Mom will find her delightful.
Is
I
that
do.
before or after she disembowels her?
Well, I don't think she would Well, Eclipse is one of mine, and Mom should respect that. She usually does.
There was a hesitation there, and that makes me nervous. So.
Yeah, and that worries me as well.
I am
After
very,
you guys,
I am
and
very
Farewell
concerned.
holds the tavern door open for everybody.
If you're well, usually she has something more impressive following her than a dead tabaxi, so it's fine.
What? Is she gonna raise me from the dead?
Oh no, she doesn't do that.
Is she a necromancer?
Of course not. Necromancers are below us.
And plus, it takes about 11 minutes to raise you from the dead as a zombie. Just so you're aware.
Thank you, Farewell.
It's fine, and don't worry if you want. I can do.
It always looks so much quicker than that.
It depends on how you do it. It depends on whether or not you're willing to sort of expend the magical energy that you need to do it. Like if you're in a fight, you can do it like that. But that's quite energy.
Simon knows why Glory is suspicious because you gave them those weapons.
Always looks so. It always looks like it takes so much quicker. Seconds.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that there are people out there that would do terrible things that would make weapons that could turn people into zombies or cast magic that would do that. But tradition.
Farewell, you have insane passive, and I think this train of thought is hilarious. So I'm gonna give it to you.
Go on then.
When you say weapons that raise the dead, Glory visibly shifts.
Oh dear.
Maybe we can get them and dispel the magic of them, and then they.
No, because do you know how difficult it is to to stop you being a zombie and then to try and bring you back to being a person? That is incredibly difficult. Incredible, and I just want to comprehend that nobody in this room, myself included, can do that right now. And when we can do that, I'm the only person that can do it. So please, for the love of God, nobody get zombified.
Nobody.
I mean, for no other reason than that I'm not explaining to your lovely parents and very nice brother as to why you're now zombie Eclipse and they're just going to have to leave you in the shed.
Yeah, that's usually where they end up.
I would like to point out you've been stood outside the Hawk and Harness for about 3 minutes at this
Yeah,
point.
with the door open.
I would like to say that we walked in and started going up the stairs while having the discussion.
I think we're still, we've gone in.
Yeah.
But having a random discussion about zombification, walking through.
Yeah, there's a few looks. You do notice that the bard has been replaced now.
Storiel has fucked off.
There seems to be a buff, swarthy-looking female human who is in half-plate armor, playing a violin and singing.
Right.
Weirdly, she doesn't look like a bard, but she's got a cracking voice. And she seems to be singing like traveling classics and things like that. So the previous bard is gone. And other than that, Noki says, "Are you having your meal down here? Oh no, you had a meal already. What am I talking about? I'm sorry. Do you need anything for your rooms? Your mail has arrived, by the way. It's all upstairs.
Mail?
Lovely. Thank you.
Thank you.
What mail? What mail?
You have mail from time to time, yes?
Yes.
It builds up when you're off gallivanting, yeah?
Yeah. I was like, I didn't order anything on fancy Amazon.
It's like your guild fees to the bounty hunters being paid automatically, you know, all those bills that come in that get automatically paid because you never respond to them. You're welcome. You're welcome. Now go upstairs and read your bloody mail, yeah? Yeah. Go on.
We love you, Noki. Thank you.
Wait, I have guild memberships?
No, Eclipse does.
Yeah.
Eclipse does.
Oh, right.
She's in
Okay,
a
that was
bounty hunters
really
guild.
confusing then for a second. What mail? Why would I have mail? No one writes to me.
When you get upstairs, each of you has a parcel that has been put on your bed.
Oh dear. Oh no.
I cast detect magic.
You cast detect magic. There is a glowing elemental signature within.
I'm just ripping mine open. I'm curious.
Sure, you know that yours is from your family, because it's dressed up and has the Tezcatlipoca symbol on there. So the letter says, "Thank you so much for the new darling exhibit that I have put in pride of place within my museum. I was absolutely delighted to see, and such a beautiful specimen as well. I have had it preserved, stuffed, and in pride of place. Your name is on a gold tablet that is at the base of it, and I have posed it in its most threatening position. Thank you, my darling, darling girl. Please accept this small trinket as a symbol of my my fondness."
Oh, it's the loot bomb. It's the loot bomb.
You open it up, and there is a lead scroll inside. The lead scroll. As soon as you see it, you know what it is. You've seen many on Insight's desk. So this is a curse scroll, a magical item that I was inspired by a Roman and Greco-Roman way of cursing somebody, of writing on a lead tablet. Like a lead film. This works in a slow way, but a way to augment to get an extra spell out of a day. If you write a name during a long rest onto this scroll, whenever you fight them, they are under the hex spell. But you have to know their name, and over a long rest, you have to repetitively write their name into the lead scroll. And wrapped up in the scroll is a small, beautifully ornate stele, that's S-T-E-L-E, with which to mark the lead scroll. This allows you to automatically put them under a level 1 hex. Actually, it doesn't matter about the level, because the level normally does the duration of the hex. So whenever you meet them, whilst they're in your presence, they are under the effect of the hex spell. Unfortunately, if you don't know the name, that's where the limitation is.
Yeah.
Also important with the hex spell is that once you got it, no, it's the Hunter's Mark that does that. Ignore me.
It is 11 o'clock, so I'm going to go through the loot bomb very quickly, and then we will call it a night.
Eclipse rips open her present very enthusiastically.
Okay, yours has the brand of the Grand Temple of Naruka, and it has a kind of crypt, even though it's got all the postmarks coming from the Grand Temple. The note underneath seems to be a handwriting you don't recognize. It's not your mother, it's not your father, it's not your brother. And it says, "Stay secret, stay safe. Fair travels, our child." And you have an amulet of proof against detection and location.
Ooh.
As per the magical item. And it automatically attunes to you as well. Can only be used.
So it doesn't count towards my attune slot.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't attune to you. It's being kind of attuned to you as a person without taking up a slot. Because attunement slots, I know it's supposed to be controlling abuse and all the rest of it of magical items, but they really do get in the fucking way.
I mean, 3 seems a bit harsh.
Yeah.
I mean, at least do slots like all other bloody computer games do. Yours, Farewell, comes with
very carefully, with like the tip of like fail breaker will just sort of gently peel it off. He's a little worried.
I love the fact that you're summoning a blade from the Dark Muse to go, okay.
Yeah, because the worst thing is I open a veil, a hole, and throw it in, and it disappears off somewhere and floats.
Rip a hole in reality, yeet it into the abyss, and sew it back up again. Inside is it reminds you of tales you've been told about insects in Trapped Amber. This is a pale blue but very transparent stone, in which seems to be a wisp of smoke that's been... Well, there's some sort of sediment that looks like a wisp of smoke inside. The stone is incredibly cold to the touch. Not to the point of giving you a frostburn, but it's really, really cool. It always feels cool. It's lovely, actually. And it's on a beautiful braided necklace. And the note that comes with it says... I have recently been told that you have residence here within the city. I'm afraid that my studies mean that I am often kept in my books and unaware of many events that go on even upon my doorstep. I knew very much about you and the families that you once traveled with. And it was my pleasure to call many of your family friend. Please call on me, as I believe that our families are very similar, except mine did not suffer the same fate as yours. Until then, I have extended to you a boon of my own family. Yours sincerely, Novos of Iraxia. Novos of Iraxia, you've never heard of the guy? You know that Novos is an air elemental name, and you know that Iraxia is a city within the elemental plane of air. You're presuming this person is also a genasi. You have a variation on a blue elemental gem that conjures a wind air elemental. However, it only recharges when you take down creatures of a certain CR rating. And the CR rating is your own level.
Fuck.
So it's a rechargeable blue elemental gem, but you have to take down something big.
I mean, we usually fight things that are around our CR level anyway, so...
Kind of, yeah.
Cool. Thank you, Simon.
Don't use the CR rating as an absolute. I will tell you if your gem recharges.
I figured you would.
Yeah. Okay. And finally, Cora walks into her room, and sat there is a beautiful missive with lots of wax seals and medallions and little ribbons that come off the wax seals. Beautiful, fantastic. There's a scent of the Summerlands on this piece of paper. And in the middle of the missive is a small, you're guessing it's either really heavily polished bronze or a slightly dark yellow gold. 1-inch brick. Yeah, it's a 1-inch cube, exactly. And the missive says, to Sirakora Yosanal, Heart's Guard of Princess Enola, and Knight of the Summer Realm. As per the rights and privileges of a knight within your position, a mount and a mount and a property is forthcoming. Unfortunately, due to your nature and your inability to achieve permanence within the Feywild, based on your location, an alternative has been provided for you. You should be able to use your connection with His August Majesty, the Summer King, to be able to activate the residence that you have been provided. Yours, and it's this huge flourished signature, and underneath it says Underclerk Summer Palace. And there's just this little gold brick, tiny little gold cube. Quiet. It's not yours. Tiny little gold brick.
Do I know what it is, or does, or?
When you pick it up, you feel like you can trigger it. When you pick it up, you're like, yeah, the power that I wield to throw bolts and stuff like that, I can just do this. I can just create it, and I can just make it work, and it will just do its thing. But you don't know what it does.
I'll do it.
Okay.
Press now.
As you throw the brick to the floor, a word comes to your lips. What word is it?
Oh God, not that. Yeah.
You were faster than
sunrise.
me.
Yep.
Love it. You throw the 1-inch cube on the floor and you say sunrise, and then it happens. You use an action to place this 1-inch metal cube on the ground and speak its command word. The cube rapidly grows into a fortress that remains until you use an action to speak the command word that dismisses it, which only works if the fortress is empty. The fortress is a square tower, 100 feet on, 20 feet on each side, and 30 foot high, with arrow slits on all sides and a battlement atop it. Its interior is divided into 2 floors, with a ladder running along one wall. I will remind you, you're on the top floor, to connect them. The ladder ends at a trapdoor leading to the roof. When activated, the tower has a small door on the side facing you. The door opens only at your command, which you speak as a bonus action. It's immune to the knock spell and similar magic, such as that of a chime of opening. Each creature in the area where the fortress appears must make a DC 15 dexterity saving throw. Go ahead.
Me? Do I have
Simon,
to do it?
does that mean that the rest of us have to do that as well?
I have to do it?
who-
I just set it off. Surely I don't have to do
You
it.
just set it off, but you're within 20 foot of it. You just threw it on the floor.
Yeah, but are the rest? How big are these rooms?
Let's see, 20 foot is what? 4 squares. I'd say you mostly have like a 4x4, 4x4 or 4x5 room each, because you've got quite big rooms.
Yeah.
I'm just going to roll a dice to see if where she threw it, the room to the left or the right gets the blow.
Oh, you
I love
poor
it.
Donkey!
Oh,
You're gonna break our tavern.
That's an 8. So the room to the right. Who's got the room to the right of Cora in the tavern?
I don't think we've.
I don't think we
Glory!
established
Eclipse.
I thought I know that
Farewell.
I've got a
Cora.
Cora.
I think it's Farewell's.
Aiden. I think.
I think it's Farewell's, and I think Aiden's close to the end near the armory.
Yeah. was furthest in. So
long time ago,
Farewell
yeah.
was on the other side of Cora, while Eclipse and Glory are on the other side of the corridor.
Mostly, I was looking for a volunteer, and I'm going to say, based on what you've said, it's going to be 19.
What was it again? A saving throw? What type?
Dexterity saving throw.
15.
We just hear
you hit it on the nose. On the nose. So as this cube just suddenly grows, you barrel roll out the way and press yourself against the wall as this fucking not a battlement, as this wall goes up to you. Farewell.
Otherwise it's 10d10.
Blows the wall out from my room.
Yeah, so your wall explodes and you're like, ah! And you jump, clutching your amulet. You jump and roll off to the side with a little more panache than Cora. So yeah, you avoided 10d10 bludgeoning damage that you would have got, and you end up getting half as much. I'll just say you take some bludgeoning, and you're pushed kind of up against the wall by the fortress.
Cora, what did you do?
Cora is desperately shouting, "Sunset! Sunset! Sunset!"
As she's screaming "Sunset," this thing that came through the wall recedes, and suddenly you look through the wall into Cora's room, where this monstrosity just goes down to a tiny little goldish 1-inch brick.
And then Farewell looks up through into the sky.
Into the sky, yeah.
There's not a roof anymore.
Yeah, there's a 20-foot by 20-foot hole in the roof, and the sound of
well,
footsteps
we were on the top floor, so I'm sure the structure overall is fine. But Nook is gonna kill Cora.
That's the footsteps running up the stairs.
Yeah.
And that is where we're going to finish the
That's so great. I totally got, like, Kate was like, right, we don't know what this is, but it's probably like a, magnificent mansion or something. It'll just be a doorway. But if it's not, it's not. Love it. I love that it wasn't. I love it.
Yeah.
Yes,
awesome.
Kate, you have Dane's Instant Fortress.
Wow.
So this has 2 floors and a battlement.
Of course it does. Amazing.
Amazing. Yes. Obviously, when this goes on and like the screech of wood being snapped and crashed out of place, of course I come out of my room and see what the fuck is going on.
Yeah, sure. And we're going to leave it there, and we will have the interesting conversation with Noki at the beginning of next session. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you, Jordan, for dropping the loot bomb and allowing me to dredge up the notes that I had ready for the first loot bomb for the Benefactor. Thank you also, Jordan, for the bits. Thank you, Pandafu, for following us. And thank you, everybody else, for watching. It's 11 o'clock, so we're stopping our game here. Well, no, it's long past that. It's 11:15, so we're stopping our game here. A big thank you to Kate, Felicia, Nick, and Corinne for their story today, and for all of you watching at home.
And Simon. Don't forget to
Simon.
Thank you.
for helping tell us. That was great. That was
If
fun.
you enjoyed our particular brand of chaos, please check out our Discord link below or follow us for our other broadcasts. Our next broadcast is a conditional one. I'm trying to put one together for Sunday, it being a bank holiday weekend. Usually I do a one-shot, but I'm hoping to do a one-shot with a slight difference. I have a go-to story that I used in Dragon Meat last year, and I've run several times, and I've always loved it, but I'm going to retire it. But I thought I'd retire it with a bit of style and do it on stream. So I have one version of this game that I'll be able to go back and watch.
I have already played this one, so I am probably not invited.
Exactly, yes. So you already know it, so you can't be part of it. But I'm hoping you'll watch and enjoy as the others go through it. But we're going to do something slightly different with it, and this is something that for those of you who watch Kate's channel, Kate's been talking about a certain style of play that she's been interested in, and it's inspired me as well. So when I was toying with this idea, I wanted something that would make it work and make it interesting for me. And we're going to do it no dice, no system, just storytelling. So the people who will be in this, and I have to go off and ask them now. I've given Kate my short list.
Love it. Yeah, they're going to be this people. Oh, they don't know yet.
No, I'm not going to say. I'm going to go off and approach them now, which is why I said this is conditional. I've given Kate the short list of the people I'd like to play, largely because I can just see how it would work in their head. I'm spoilt for choice of people to ask, so I'm kind of mixed up. So on Sunday, I'm hoping that you'll be able to join us for my very last rendition of the Vaudeville Ghost, a ghost story and mystery. Until then,
don't have a time yet, right? So we'll just keep an eye on the socials.
No, because I need to speak to the others. So yeah, I will announce it in the Discord. So any of you who are not on Discord, get down there now. Get the information from there. And if that doesn't happen, we will have Star Wars: Legends of the Sprawl and the continuing chaos there at Tuesday, 8 p.m. UK time, with Paul, Ed, Felicia, and Corinne. Until then, stay safe. Take care and good night.
Bye-bye.